Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever signed. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about it.
I don't think I've ever said this before.
All right. Good morning, folks. By the way, you know, it's interesting because watching a speech of President Trump in Israel give this speech about peace and Abraham Accords and all this stuff, and I started thinking about it. There's going to be some terrible wars in about 5 weeks during Thanksgiving with your liberal relatives that show up. Can you imagine that?
Yep.
Sitting there arguing. Wasn't this guy supposed to start World War III?
Yep.
Wasn't it supposed to be the end? What is it with this guy constantly doing all these peace deals? By the way, how many people do you think are actually annoyed that these peace deals are happening? Think about how many people, Vinny,
A lot.
are sitting there saying, give me a flip and break. I can't believe it happened. I want this thing to continue. But the guys in Israel, FYI, in sales, you would know someone's fired based on giving them an appointment, and they would say, I got 3 appointments for you in San Diego. These are qualified clients. You want to go meet with them? San Diego? I don't know. I'll take it. The other person would take it and they'd go to it, right? Have you met anyone, any president where it's like, I'm going to Israel. I'm going to Egypt. Let's go to Alaska and meet Putin. Let's go over here. Let's go there. This quickly, the way he runs it. Do you know what is one thing? And by the way, we haven't even started. We have a special guest in the house. The one and only, the great Adam Carolla's in the house.
Yeah.
Great to have him here with us. But you know what's amazing about this? The fact that they used to say a businessman won't make a good president, Vinny. A businessman won't make a good president. But you know what we're realizing? That somebody needs to broker deals. Yep. And so that skill set is actually needed, especially during these tumultuous times that we had the last couple of years. That's the biggest word you're going to get from me today.
Very big.
We have by the way, our superstar, she's still going at it. I'm so in love with her, Katie Porter. I told my wife, babe, if you ever have to worry about me leaving you for anybody, it's Katie Porter. I love Katie Porter.
So hot.
She is the ghost.
She's so hot.
I want to go to dinner with her and argue over me asking
Pass
her,
the potatoes.
Babe, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? Why would you ask me? You don't think I can make up my own mind? I just want to have that
Mashed
tension.
potato, and then
Don't you just want that kind of tension with somebody, Adam? I know you do.
All tension is good because it turns into sexual tension. It starts off as a potato-based, carb-laden tension, and then it goes into a sexual tension. So you want to start it there. I sent a tweet out yesterday that said she had to drop out of the race because she got mad cow disease. But that's a pretty accurate statement, right? She was stricken by mad cow disease.
Well, listen, the last time
a carrier.
The last time I heard somebody attack someone else with potatoes was in Jerky Boys. Frank Rizzo, right?
Yeah.
When he was it Frank Rizzo? No, who was it?
Sizzle
no,
chest.
It was Sal Rosen.
No, it was the gay. It's like we boil potatoes and we just fire them at each other.
Might have been Saul Rosenberg.
She literally took potatoes. I mean, look, if she ever ran a podcast, her sponsor would be like the biggest potato company in the world. Okay, today's sponsor is brought to you by Oklahoma's Potatoes. We make the best potatoes. And you can use it as a weapon. Idaho. My apologies to the Idaho people. I don't know. Let me just tell you all the stories. We got a lot of stories to go through, so let me kind of read some of these stories to you. Donald Trump thanks Putin for saying U.S. president is too good to be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. White House accuses Nobel Peace Prize committee of playing politics after Trump's bad fails. No. Okay, this is Forbes, which has turned into a leftist 2021 International Woman of the Year was Hillary Clinton. Forbes used to be good 10 years ago. They've lost it. They need a new buyer. They need somebody new that owns it, that brings it back to business. I don't know who that's going to be, but they need someone new. White House starts mass layoffs of government workers. Wall Street Journal story. CDC employees. Among more than 4,000 federal workers laid off during shutdown, Trump announces 100% tariff on China. Beginning in November, obviously that relationship's getting better and better and better. 100% tariffs. He wants to get it done. China isn't afraid. This is Barron's. Beijingers, I didn't even know that's a proper term, shrug off Trump tariff threat. It's not a big deal. We don't care. So guess what China does? China targets NVIDIA, Qualcomm, and crackdown on U.S. chip imports. I know Tom's got a lot to say about that one. Rahm Emanuel, who is an Obama supporter, who is not a person that likes a guy named Donald J. Trump, but he gave him credit for Israel-Hamas ceasefire peace deal, and so did Hillary Clinton. And so did Condoleezza Rice. And so did a lot of other people. Some of them were forced to do it. Some of them did it in a way that they look like they're in a lot of pain, Vinny. Like the video you were showing earlier.
Yeah, like there's a gun
what is her
to
name?
them.
Kristen.
Kristen Welker?
No, Collins from
Caitlin Collins.
Caitlin Collins,
Sorry.
our girl from
She looks
CNN.
so mad that she had to do it.
Jared,
hostage
Talk about my
video
girl
of
like
her
that.
own.
Jared Kushner is back.
Oh, yeah.
And his imprint is all over the Gaza deal. Trump sees you, hears you, stands with you. Daughter Ivanka tells hostage square. By the way, the hostages that were released, all 20 of them, all the hostages that were released, not one was a female. Every one of them was a male. Now, some people are saying women didn't make it, and that's why it's only male. But all the hostages that were released were all men. Okay, just an interesting fact. But all of them were released. Now, we have an expert here in the state of California, so we're going to start off with a lot of California stuff. So brace for impact. I'm sure Newsom's going to love this year. Californians tempted to leave it all behind for Miami's scorching real estate market. Okay, we'll cover that. A bunch of California stuff. Gavin Newsom calls Joe Rogan a son of a bitch as he asks for an invite. What a way to invite. Hey, you son of a, can I get on your podcast?
Yeah.
That's the proper way to ask for an invitation. And we just have, listen, we're going to do reruns of Katie Porter for a long time to come, folks. She's amazing, right? Vince McMahon wakes up begging for a villain like that.
Oh.
Think about it. Like UFC needs a villain like that that just comes out talking shit. She's phenomenal. Charlie Kirk assassination questions remain 1 month after UVU shooting. People are asking questions about it. Jimmy Kimmel didn't see a problem with his lie that Charlie Kirk's killer was part of MAGA gang. Record number of voters think U.S. government has become too powerful. Polls show. And then we got a couple stories that we'll probably talk about with Nassim Taleb. Who knows? Maybe this one story, it's a heartbreaking one, folks, but, it's a good one. A transgender sentenced to prison for concealing biological reality from the man she was dating during a sex act. Let me read that to you one more time. And I'm telling you a story that's written by the Daily Caller. Let me read it again to you. Transgender, this one right here, okay? Sentenced to prison for concealing biological reality from man during sex act. By the way, this is good news that at least some people are going to prison, because one of my friends went to Brazil and that guy's still around. I'm just telling you, like, this is good news. We're making progress, folks.
It's like straight from the crime game to court. That's interesting.
Banners welcoming back hostages during strung up near hospitals as Israel prepares for the return. J.D. Vance in fiery exchange with ABC over Tom Homan's $50,000 bag of cash. Why fewer and fewer people watch your show. Trump says, don't worry about China after Beijing responds to 100% tariff. And then J.D. Vance says, you're losing credibility. I think that's the same with George Stephanopoulos. And a couple jokes with President Trump when he was on stage. He said, Adelson's. I got to tell you, Miriam Adelson, her husband came to to the White House so many times, probably the most. He would always call me, Donald, what do you have going on? He says, I'm the president. You don't call me and tell me you want to come meet with me. I tell you, Anyways, he was having some fun this morning in Israel. With that being said, before we get started, guys, some big news today. After 2 years of working on this, we have finally pulled it off. And let me tell you what it is. Every time we do the Vol Conference, if you've attended, you know this. I stand up and I speak for probably 45 hours is what I do at the Vol Conference. And I love it. I love being around the guys. I love it. But I wear the Ferragamo shoes when I do this. Or I wear some kind of dress shoes. Eventually, for the last 25 years, I've always been on stage walking around. I'm like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of it. I want a shoe that I'm comfortable wearing. And here's what I love. I don't like shoes that are so heavy. That's a dumbbell. You can use it as a weapon. I don't want that. Like the Xenia, you carry it. I have so many of them, but they're so heavy. Like you can literally curl the Xenia, the shoes, and you'll get a pump within 30 reps. And I wanted the combination of the Hoka, the On Cloud, the Super Foam, because there's a big thing going on right now with the Super Foam, where the bottom of the shoe, you wear it. You know which ones I'm talking about, the On Cloud or the Hokas, right? They're so comfortable. And I said, what if we take luxury and then combine it with the super comfort? What would that look like? And let's build it in Italy. So what do? We went to Italy. We designed the shoe in Florida. We made the shoe in Italy in five of the factories. We went back and forth God knows how many times. And by the way, the shoes we're about to launch and introduce to you right now, where you're going to see the video for the first time, I've been wearing those shoes for the last 22 days straight. I'm wearing them right now. I literally wear it with suits. I wore it yesterday when we went to lunch. I wear it every single day. It's the most comfortable shoes I have, yet it's authentic Italian leather wrap. If you don't mind playing the video, Go for it. Here's a video of the latest shoe, the FLBs. When we set out to create a shoe that blends comfort, function, and luxury, we had the choice to make it fast. We had the choice to make it cheap. We chose neither. Instead, we chose Tuscany, Italy. We chose true Italian craftsmanship, each pair touched by 50 skilled hands. We chose patience, spending 2 years perfecting every detail, and we chose the finest quality at every step. Introducing the Future Looks Bright collection. Not rushed, not disposable, not ordinary. Rather, intentional, luxurious, timeless.
Boom.
There you go. Designed in Florida, 100% made in Italy. 50 hands touch each shoe that was made. And here's what's unique about it. I want to kind of show this to everybody that knows this. And I've worn pretty much every one of these shoes. So if you compare this, the Italian leather, of course, it's made in Italy. It's not assembled, made in China, assembled in Italy, 100% made in Italy, assembled in Italy. It's FLBs, Berlutis, which are 1840, Ferragamos are $895, Zennias are $1190, and Gucci's are $950. Leather premium lining, all of them except for Gucci. Laceless feature, it's the FLBs, the Berlutis, you have laces, Ferragamos laceless, and then you have also the Zennias, and then the Gucci's have the laces. I don't want to wake up in the morning, put laces on. I want to get out the house. Took me 3 seconds to put my shoes on today. Craftsman, 5 different Italian factories all made this shoe. Berlutis are the same as us, as well as FLB. But the only shoe, these trainers, the only one in the world today, according to the factories that told me this in Italy, that has the super foam, the only one that has the same super foam used in the On Clouds and the Hokas, it's the FLBs, and they're officially out, and you can place the order. Here's a challenge. We only have 1,000 of these pairs. And when you say 1,000 of these pairs, they start from size, I believe, is it 8? It goes 8, 9, 10, 10 and a half, 11, 11 and a half, 12, 13. Those are the sizes that we have. And the shoes that you can get today, the colors, you have access to, Rob, if you can go back there, you can have access to those browns, which is absolutely beautiful. And by the way, the brown on the bottom, the stitching on the side is a left stitching. If you can change the picture, and on the bottom it says the future looks bright. Look at the white lines on the side. It's beautiful. The only ones we have right now that you can get sent out today are the black and the browns. If you do want the white to pre-order, I would highly recommend you do so. They're going to come out the second week of December. So the white and the navy blue comes out the second week of December. The browns and the blacks are available. If you believe the future looks bright as much as we do, go place the order. There's nothing like sitting in the boardroom with your trainers and you put your feet over your knee and people look at the bottom of your shoe and it says future looks bright. That's how you get deals done. All right, so they're out. I'm excited to announce it, and I'm very happy for people to go sport it. When you get them, take pictures, send it our way. We're going to show all these shoes, all the pictures that are being taken. I already got a bunch of them sent to me on Instagram. Go to vtmerch.com, place your order. It's all over the website. Maybe buy it for your husband, buy it for your brother, buy it for your coworkers, buy it for your best salespeople if you want to let them know the future looks bright. All right, with that being said, President Trump was in Israel this morning, and he's up there giving the speech. And you see Bibi sitting right there. You see everybody around the world is sitting there saying, is this actually going to be happening? You had 20 hostages that are officially released. I believe we have all the hostages back in Israel, if I'm not mistaken, Rob. I think all 20 are out. And we're going to show you a couple glimpses of these messages that he gave. And then I'll come to the panel. Adam Carolla, I'm going to start off with you first before anybody else. Here's President Trump this morning in Israel. Go for it.
And let me also convey my tremendous appreciation for all of the nations of the Arab and Muslim world that came together to press Hamas to set the hostages free and to send them home. We had a lot of help. We had a lot of help from a lot of people that you wouldn't suspect. And I want to thank them very much for that. It's an incredible triumph for Israel and the world to have all of these nations working together as partners in peace. And it's pretty unusual for you to see that, but it happened in this case. This was a very unusual point in time, a brilliant point in time. Generations from now, this will be remembered as the moment that everything began to change, and change very much for the better. Like the USA right now, it will be the golden age of Israel and the golden age of the Middle East. It's going to work together.
You can pause it right there. Adam, how big of a deal is this?
It's a big deal. It's a big deal that a lot of people don't want to give him credit for. Obviously, we spoke to that a little bit at the top of the show. It's interesting because I've been studying this because I'm from California. In California, we have process people. People want to talk and talk and talk. It's always a seat at the table, people treated with dignity. Nobody's illegal, but nothing gets done. It's just the homeless need to be treated with dignity and compassion, and then 10 years goes by, more homeless. We talk about everything. He does everything. So because his background is commercial, builder, real estate guys. And my background is building as well. And anyone whose background is in building is always in a hurry. So they show up and they go, the slab is poured. Where's the framers? When are we framing it? They go, we can't put the windows in until we frame. Well, where are the windows? Where are the frames? It's a constant, you can't do this until you do that. And he spent his whole life walking around job sites going, where's the marble? Where's the tile? It's held up. It's at the port. Well, get it over here. Let's go. Because in building, everything is waiting on the next thing. The foundation has to go, then the framing, then the steel guys, then the interior wall, windows, roofing. It's always, we're waiting on the next sub. So he comes in here, and you could see it when he came to California after the fires. He sits there with Karen Bass. She's a process person. She wants to talk about stuff, not do stuff. She wants to go to Ghana and get in ceremonial garb and dance. He comes and sits down and goes, what's going on? We should be starting now. People should be clearing their own lots. And she's like, whoa, slow down, pump the brakes, because all they want to do is talk. They don't want to do anything. Kamala Harris, does she want to close the border? She just want to talk. And the process people get upset when the people who do stuff show up and start going, what's going on? Why is this taking so long? They get pissed off, and their plan is not, we'll do stuff faster. It's shut that guy up and get him the hell off this job site.
By the way, what a point, Tom, when you think about that. The value of urgency, because if you work in a place, like you go from a big company, corporation, where it's all process. I got to talk to John, then I got to get about, then I got to get, then again. And then you run a startup mentality. It's like, no, make one phone call. I got it. Call him. I approve it. Go ahead and get it done. You're dealing with a startup CEO, startup founder. So you either have to be able to go at his pace or you're going to be left behind when he's going at the pace. By the way, I'm going to read this story. Banners welcoming back hostages strung up near hospitals as Israel prepares for their return. Rob, I don't know if you have this video or not. Watch this clip, folks. Go ahead.
This is just B-roll of actual Israel right now, but I also have...
They put American flags everywhere. Yeah. Wow, good for them.
And there's also this from CNN. Right here.
There was this banner that was displayed on the beach in Tel Aviv, a giant thank you, just to kind of speak to the moment, Sarah,
cool
of what kind of Israel is bracing for right now.
Look at the
as
face,
the president's expected to be here. He's only going to be here for less than 5 hours on the ground in Jerusalem, but he'll be speaking to the members of the parliament.
Freed the hostages? I don't get it.
And hostages themselves, and partaking in that as we see him also standing alongside the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu.
That's pretty cool to see this. Adam, how do you feel about all this stuff?
Well, today's a monumentous day. I mean, it's been 2 years since October 7th, and we've seen the world go into chaos. The world went into chaos after COVID, and then this just was like the icing on the cake, where it's like just gave everybody permission to absolutely lose their mind. If you're pro-America, if you're anti-America, gave you permission to burn the American flag. If you hated Trump, wow, this is a great excuse for you to get out there. If you wanted to burn the flag, go for it. If you want to elect someone like Zoran Mandani, boom, excuse. This is Trump resetting the world. Adam made a great point. In LA, you talk about Karen Bass, whoever. There's the kids these days, they say, don't talk about it, be about it.
Right.
And Trump just bees about it. He doesn't care what you think of him. You said that the number one thing a politician has to be these days is what? Shameless. He doesn't care what you say. He's not running for re-election. He's a deal maker. Whether it's a real estate deal, whether it's a tariff deal, whether it's a hostage deal, whether it's a peace deal, Trump is about business. And here you see the world just galvanized around Trump saying, They thought that he would start World War III. He's doing peace deals. He thought that he would give chaos to the world. There's order. Everything they said about Trump turned out to be false, and everything's just culminating with this deal right now. And we'll see where this goes from here. But today's an amazing day for everyone involved.
Rob, by the way, we don't know if they thought it or they just said it. You know, all the Hitlerian stuff or World War III or the economy's going to collapse, the stock market, whatever. They say a lot of stuff they don't mean. So when you go like they thought he was going to start World War III, did they think it or are they just talking?
Well, what do you think? I don't know if they think it, but they called him Hitler a million times, and now he's the best friend of Israel's ever had, according to Bibi Netanyahu.
Here's what I think when it comes to all the Hitler talk. The old guard, you know, Pelosi, Schumer, these people, I mean, Hillary Clinton, we're talking average age 80 at this point. They've been there. They've done that. They've seen him go. Biden, they've seen everyone come and everyone go. They know he's not Hitlerian. Right. The 19-year-old kid who's been playing video games and vaping his whole life and is now in a bunch of pharmaceuticals, that kid believes them when they say Hitler. They don't believe Hitler. They're taking pictures with Hitler and going to his wedding and stuff like that. But that kid believes,
so you think it's
and that
still
kid
effective.
gets a gun. Well, it's an interesting thing. So they say it, they don't believe it, but young and impressionable does. And that's when the bullets start flying. And that's the danger of it to me.
Is there anything there that can hold people accountable, or that's just the risk of freedom of speech that we're going to be is there anything that can be done? Because somebody may say, well, they can say that and somebody can react to it. Let's try to lower the temperatures. But you're flirting with freedom of speech. You that's one of the great things about America. What would you say to them?
I think when they keep saying the same thing, they call everyone racist, for instance. That used to mean something. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
Correct.
They wore it out. Everyone's racist, everyone's misogynist, everyone's xenophobic, scared of people who look different than them. I'd be running for my life right now from the studio if I was scared of people who look different than me. You go out into society. You live in L.A., you live in Miami, you look around, scared of people who look different than you. Everybody you interact with looks different in the modern United States. So they're going to keep saying it, and it's going to wear off. It's just going to keep wearing thinner to the point where it doesn't mean. They can say Hitlerian all they want. He's going to do all these great deals and have all these peace accords, and their punishment is they're inaccurate and people think they're fools.
That's a good point.
And they stop listening.
You almost become immune to it. It's like dating a girl that keeps saying the same thing over and over and over to you. You're like, listen, man, it doesn't hurt anymore. I'm so tired of hearing this. I'm out. I'm leaving. Rob, do you have your phone with you, by the way?
Yes.
Okay. You see my text messages I'm sending, or am I sending it to the wrong number? Yeah. Tom, so Rob, if you don't mind playing this clip. So this is when Bibi says Trump is greatest friend Israel has had. Rob, if you want to play this clip, go for it.
No American president has ever done more for Israel. And as I said in Washington, it ain't even close. It's really not a match. Mr. President, today we welcome you here to thank you for your pivotal leadership in putting forward a proposal that got the backing of almost the entire world. A proposal that brings all our hostages home.
You have that picture, Rob, of all the hostages? I think we have it somewhere. So it's about 20 hostages that came home. Obviously, that's Jerusalem Post. God bless the peacemaker. You're seeing all this stuff all over the place. Vinny, where are you at with this? Where are you at with this? You've been on the podcast, PBD podcast now for how long now? I'd say 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah,
2.5, 3 years. So we've been in the thick of things. This is the 20 hostages that they had. Notice none of them are women. They're all men. Some say maybe women didn't make it.
They gave the women and children earlier.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
So
for the most part,
right? So, where are you at with this? How are you processing this?
Well, first going back to what Adam was saying about downplaying the Hitler and the
good Adam.
Yeah, good.
And we have to do.
Yeah. Good Adam.
I like
respectable
that.
Adam.
Yeah.
Good respectable Adam. Machleta Adam. Let's just go with that.
When you've watered down Hitler, when you've watered down racist, it's so dangerous because then when the real racists and the real second Hitler or somebody that bad comes around, you know what we're going to say? Oh, is that the, nah, it doesn't even work anymore. But Pat, going to your question, with going to Donald Trump, since I personally, I was living in LA, Adam, during, his first run, and good Adam, first run and everything. I was wearing a red hat, it was a red hat, a Yankee hat, and I was getting attacked. I had to deal with all that nonsense, all the lost family members, lost really, really good friends, got into fights and arguments. From that to where we are today, if you can't say, I'm talking about put George Washington and all them aside, he is going to go down, love him or hate him, as one of the greatest presidents in the history of our nation. I don't care who's going to come after. As of right now, the stuff that he has done and the crap that he's had to go through, that they put him through with Russia and impeachments and everything, it's done. Like, it is done. What else does he need to do? The fact, by the way, the Nobel Peace people have lost all credibility. I never said that they actually had it before, but this guy has stopped 8 wars. He's gotten everybody back. So now Hamas at this point, Adam, they're just, Hamas is just sitting around going, okay, we gave him back. What I would do right now is go after full freaking initiative. I'd go after Hamas and just wipe them all out. I mean, where are they right now? They gave him safe haven. I think what he's done, Pat, is amazing. I saw one of these hostages just get released, and he looked like the person, the IDF soldiers talking to him was a female. He looked up into the sun, and you could see that he hasn't seen that thing in a long time. And he just had a moment, and then she was like trying to talk to him. I think it's amazing, and he's going to go down as one of the best.
Talking about the Nobel Peace Prize, you know what's the weirdest thing about the Nobel Peace Prize is you have to submit your candidates for Nobel Peace Prize before January 31st. So which means it would have been 11 days from him winning. So January 20th, okay, he has to be nominated for Nobel Peace Prize previous to January 31st, okay? Yeah. So they nominated at that time Maria Corina Machado. Why? Because Venezuela, Maduro, all that other stuff, right? So this is the whole thing with the deadline that you got to submit before that. So, but you know what makes it funny? This is what makes everybody's like, oh, that makes sense. Why they did this? Watch this. Obama becomes president, and they say he won 8.5 months later. No, he didn't. He won 11 days later. Because he became president January 20th. And they gave it to him they nominated him as a Nobel Peace Prize within that 11 days. And then he won. That means before even doing anything, nothing, they gave him the Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah. And this guy here, Putin comes out and says, Trump is too good to get a Nobel Peace Prize. And Trump actually thanked him for it. I don't know if you have that clip or not. There's a clip of Trump thanking Putin for saying the president is too good to be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Here's Vladimir, Rob, if you have it.
Worthy or unworthy. But at a close premium, I don't know. That he really does a lot to resolve such complex issues that have lasted for decades, for years, or indeed for a happy crisis. I have already said exactly I know in relation to the crisis in Ukraine. And Screens is committed to this. Some things were successful, some were not. Maybe we will still be able to do a lot based on the agreement of discussions. Areas of use. But he's definitely trying, definitely working on these issues. Issues of achieving peace and resolving complex international situations. Here are the most...
Did you have a Rob?
That's Putin, and then Trump just tweeted a thank you.
Oh, Trump tweeted a thank you.
Yes, that is right here.
Trump is so funny. Thank you, Mr. President. President Putin responds to President Trump not winning the Nobel Peace Prize. This award lost credibility. The committee discussed the prize for people who have done nothing for the world. He solves complex problems, crises that last for decades. By the way, what's even worse than this, Obama sends a tweet saying, hey, congratulations on the peace deal, all this stuff. Never once saying Trump. Nope. And then Maria Corina Machado wins it, thanking Trump. Right. And then he retweets it, still not thanking Trump. Yeah. Like, do you understand? Maria 100%. Corina Machado said this wouldn't have happened without Trump. So, Tom, where are you at with all this stuff going on with Israel? He's not Beetlejuice, is what you're saying.
If you say his name, he's not just going to magically appear in your house.
I'll tell you where I am. The first thing is, I've always found it ironic that the Nobel Peace Prize was named for Alfred Nobel, who invented dynamite. If you don't know that, he's the inventor of dynamite.
Nice.
So, Peace Prize. Maybe dynamite is what ends
wars. Blow you to pieces. Go ahead.
That's right. Oh, it's the Nobel Peace Prize from the inventor of dynamite. Yeah. It's not peace. No, this is the art of the deal, and I think people need to appreciate the deal maker that's in the White House and getting things done. As Adam Carolla said at the beginning, he's not a discussion guy. He's not a let's sit down, talk about it, and have tea. He's a guy, let's go get it done. You get on the phone with the subcontractor. I want the foundation done. I want the foundation cured so we can start putting up steel and build this thing. And he sent Rubio and he sent Witkoff. And now we find out that also Jared Kushner is in there part of it. But check this out. When the deal first came down, it started with Trump making a better relationship with Turkey. Okay, this is the guy I'm going to need. He's already kind of at odds with Israel. I got to get some work done here. And here's how the thing came together over literally, apparently 7 days after 4 weeks. 4 weeks working on it, Pat, 7 days. Step one says the Hamas leader, Khalil al-Hayya, he saw it and he said, no, I'm a no on this. It was like 16 points, not quite 20 points. I'm a no. Then 2 days later, he came back to the Arab mediators, including the Egyptian guy, and he said, yes. Now, what changed? What changed? The pressure on him changed. Egypt and Qatar told Hayya, this deal is your last chance. They're going to unleash Israel. They're going to pull all these people out of the zones, and they are going to crush the rest of it and get down in the tunnels. This thing is going to end even worse if there is a possible worse. And he said, well, think about it. A day later, Turkey warned him, say, listen, if you don't approve the plan, I'm going to strip you, Hamas, of political and diplomatic cover. I'm going to leave you hanging. And you need money, and you're coming to me for money, and you're coming to me for arms. I'm going to leave you hanging, was a message from Turkey. Then Egypt said, listen, if you don't get with this, we are going to stop pressing and stop lobbying to have you have a say in Gaza's post-war governance. You will have no say. You're out. So the pressure came from the Arab community, from Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey in that way. And then they did one thing. They reached out to Khaled al-Qadami, if I'm pronouncing that right.
You're doing great.
Who is in Iran, and he's Hamas representative in Tehran. So he's like the ambassador for Hamas in Tehran. Yeah, it sounds weird, but that's what he does. And they said, listen, you need to get behind this, but all the Palestinian civilians won't be forced out. They will be a way for humanitarian resettlement and reconstruction. And then Tehran said, okay, if that's in there, then we're going to whisper to Hamas that we want you to do it. And that's how it came together. Look at all the deal making that was in there. And Trump issued apparently private warning to them that said, look, we know they're out of money. We know they're out of military. I want to know who wants to step forward and fund them and give them the next round of arms. Whoever that is, I'm going to find out.
Yeah.
Isn't that an interesting final thing to say?
Very much so. And by the way, did you hear what he said this morning when he's like, look, you know who you are. Those of you guys that were a part of this Abraham Accords, good for you guys. And those of you that you're not, it's not too late to want to choose to come and do something with it. And Iran, you still have a shot at doing a deal with us. This is not a being weak in our negotiation part. Don't think we have the strength. But it's still not too late for you to come and make a better deal and make sure Iran's going to be in a better place than it was before. But this morning, it was very interesting listening to him give the speech that he gave. Obviously, it's a big deal on what happened here. I don't think this guy's going to slow down. He's going to keep going. By the way, imagine being married to this guy. Babe, where are you today? The average person, where are you? I'm at Publix. Where are you, babe? I'm at the gym.
Yeah.
Babe, where are you? Israel.
Yeah.
Babe, where are you today? Are we going to have dinner? No, I'm in Alaska. Do you want to go to dinner in Alaska, have some crab legs or maybe some bass, Alaskan bass? Yeah, I guess we're going to do that. The guy's like a running machine going everywhere and anywhere to get the job done.
Did you hear what Caitlin Collins
and one
said?
last point.
What?
Who is the guy who's chairman of the commission for Gaza?
It's him.
Donald J. Trump. So he puts himself in there and kind of daring everybody. And now, by the way, not only have I got skin in the game, I'm right here.
Let me ask you this, Adam. I'm going to give you a list of names. Tell me the presidents that we've had that could have done those things in this season. Because remember, this guy's been inside the tornado for so long. First term, second term that he was out, Biden's in, and now the second term. Who could have done this? Biden, Obama, Clinton, Bush, Senior, Reagan. Who could have gone at this guy's pace doing what he's doing right now?
Well, so those guys are like half the people we have in power, like ceremonial. Like Karen Bass is the ceremonial mayor of Los Angeles, but she's not into doing things, you know. They were ceremonial. They're like the hood ornament and Trump's the engine. They were just along for the ride. Mm-hmm. And out front, everyone saw them and went, oh, look, you know, it's a Rolls Royce, you know, and gave them a bunch of credit, but they weren't driving the car. They weren't powering the car. So their plan is to sort of oversee what's going on and not start a war, but not get anything done. And to sort of talk about it for as long as they can talk about it before they just run out the clock. They're just doing four-corner basketball from back in the day. They're just literally, Joe Biden was trying to run out the clock. He wasn't trying to do anything. And his big thing was like, I don't want to get caught screwing something up, so I'll do nothing, and then I won't get blamed. And I'll try to pull the troops out of Afghanistan, and then, boom, you know, we'll come down on him. So I think these guys just sort of status quo, hang out. They're like night watchmen, you know. They don't want to get involved. They don't want to stop crime. They don't want to tackle anyone to the ground. Just keep your head down and walk around the perimeter of the warehouse.
By the way, if you caught the Adam make a couple analogies with cars, Rob, if you can pull this up, it's because he's got one of the biggest Porsche car collections in the world, right? I went there, I don't know how many years ago it was. You gave me a tour of the place. The shop is absolutely sick, insane. I got a Porsche, a singular. This man's got possibly the greatest Porsche collection, if not one of the greatest Porsche collections in the world. And it was phenomenal going there. By the way, is this one of them that
Paul Newman, wow.
He bought this one for $4.4 million? I don't know if it's worth $4.4 today.
You know, the tires need to be changed.
The hood ornament. It's the hood ornament thing. Yeah. How's the engine, though?
So I have the largest Paul Newman race car collection. Three of them are Porsches. Mm-hmm. And then that car is an important Porsche because that car won Le Mans, and it won the 24 Hours of Daytona, and it won the 12 Hours of Sebring, which are the sort of triple crown
of endurance.
Of endurance, yeah. And it actually came in first in its class in Le Mans, second overall, with Newman driving it. Newman drove it at Le Mans. Sick. So it's an important car. It also was the only car that was in Apple livery. So Apple sponsored that car the year after Newman drove it. So what people can't wrap their mind around is that car got raced in 1979. It went to Le Mans. It did all its races in 79. In 80, it came back to the shop, and they needed a new sponsor, and it became the Apple race car. So if you put up Apple 935 Porsche, you'll see that it was the only car Apple ever sponsored. Wow. And it was a beautiful
and that's
car.
The one you got.
It went to Le Mans.
Yeah, that's sick.
It went to Le Mans and ran as an Apple.
And by the way, you have Paul Newman's car collection. Damn. Adam has Paul Newman's greatest salad dressing bottles. He's big on
it's
salad
a nonprofit.
dressing.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So you posed a question before we learned about Paul Newman and Adam Carolla's amazing Porsche car collection. Respect to you. You posed a question, could anybody else have done this? This peace deal that Trump did. You said, is it Bush, is it Obama, is it Clinton? Maybe Reagan could have pulled this off. You know, the boldness to basically
I don't think
Mr.
so.
Gorbachev.
I don't think Reagan
I said
could have pulled
maybe.
it off. Yeah.
But the reason that Trump pulled this off is because he has something that everyone else does not have, and that's called non-conventional wisdom. The whole thing with Trump is that he doesn't have any ideology. He doesn't believe in anything. He just, puts his finger up to the wind and as it blows. That's actually what worked in this situation right now. Conventional wisdom in the Middle East has led to just chaos for decades, if not centuries. Yeah. He said, no, we're going to do it this way. Yeah. And now you have not only Israel parading for him and praising him, but the Middle East Arab world is also giving him major accolades. And you talked about Kushner. He said the following: it's okay to be pro-Israel. It's okay to be pro-Palestine. It's okay to be completely indifferent. It is not okay to be pro-Hamas. They are a terrorist group. And I think that's falling on a lot of people that they don't understand this. And here's the last point. You know how during the stock market during COVID, you see the stock market's going this way and then it's boom, major dip. And then it comes back to reality. That's exactly what's going on here. This is just a culmination of what they were working on prior to October 7th. The world was going in this trajectory, the Abraham Accords, and then there was this major, major blip in the radar. And now they're normalizing relations, stabilizing realizations, and this is what's happening now.
And you guys were talking, but you just mentioned this really fast about him being the peacemaker. In the Bible, it says, "Blessed are the peacemakers." But Peter Ducey was on Air Force One, Pat, on the way there, and I just sent it to you, Rob, in Slack. He said you talked about how you hope for the end of the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. And Trump's response is pretty interesting. It's kind of weird that he said there's nothing. Can you play this, Rob?
You had talked a couple weeks ago, you were doing an interview, and you talked about how you hope to end the war in Ukraine because it might help you get into heaven. How does this help? Does this help?
I mean, I'm being a little cute. I don't think there's anything going to get me in heaven. Okay? I think I'm not maybe heaven bound. I may be in heaven right now as we fly in Air Force One. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to make heaven, but I've made life a lot better for a lot of people.
He's true.
But how do you? But I'm actually curious, Adam. How do you hear that? What he's saying?
He is a comedian at heart, and so what comedians do, because I do it all the time, and it's horrible. Like I can't stop. Like you'll say to some guy, "This guy works for you." Give him some praise, he'll feel good about it. You go, Steve, you've been really doing a great job here, and I'm really loving the work you're doing here. And then at some point, that weird little brain thing kicks
You're fired.
on, and you go, yeah, sorry to have to let you go. You know what I mean? Because you can't get, because you can't get too long into something without cracking wise. He can't do it. But that's the mind. He's really a comedian. Hilarious. Really. I mean, he is.
What do you think about it, Vinny? How do you process it?
Well, I know where he's coming from too, because at the end of the day, he's the quickest, funniest. Like, remember the time that who sneezed behind him at RFK, and he goes, "I better not get COVID now." Like, he's funny. He's witty. But I mean, but in that moment,
do you really think?
I really think
is he being 50% serious?
I think he's being 50. What do you mean? No, Adam. First of all,
I'm asking him, Adam. You think he's being 50% serious?
When it comes to something that fast, and the funny, the wit is there. But if you saw, he really got serious for a second. Where he honestly, I don't think he believes.
Adam, what do you think?
I think he's joking. I think Adam Carolla makes a great point. I think he's actually naturally a comedian. That's funny that you say that. The key to comedy, is misdirection. You think I'm going here,
right,
and then I'm all the way over this way,
right,
and not to put any squabbles in there. That's the problem with late night television. Whether it's Fallon, whether it's Kimmel, whether it's Colbert, you know where the joke is going.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it a mile away. So when Trump goes, Ducey goes, "You're going to heaven," the president should say, "Of course, we're all going to heaven." He goes, "I don't know about that."
You know what I actually think about his answer?
That's the truth.
I think it's actually a noble answer. I think it's more noble that questioning whether you'll make it up there than being certain about it. I think it's arrogant to be certain that you're going to go up there. Of course, when you accept Jesus as your Savior,
of course,
I get it. For our denomination, what we have, I kind of like it. There's a part of it that's a nobility part where it's kind of like, man, if you only knew the life I've lived and what I've done.
Yeah.
But look, man, if I make it, man, like you can tell to him, he's like, this may be the best I'm going to see. I'm
flying in, right. He's also flying in the sky.
Well, because
Pat,
he said,
do you think he's going to heaven, Trump?
I don't know. It's not for me to I don't know when we're at the Charlie Kirk's memorial. He said Charlie Kirk and his Savior, not our Savior,
not mine.
You think there's a big word between mine, our, his. Mm-hmm. You think he's a guy that would say change the word? You ever seen him when he's telling a girl what to tweet out? And then say this,
typing in real time.
That's right.
During the debates.
So, do you think he changed the word? Do you think he's aware to put that as our, as mine in that moment? Yeah, I don't know where he's at with his faith. Honestly, I don't know where he's at with his faith.
I think he probably was like not religious whatsoever. I think he pandered to the evangelical community. However, I think when he got shot in the ear and almost died,
maybe more.
It changed a little bit. Yeah. I would think.
I'm going to tell you. A part of being inside the tornado at the highest of the highest level and be the leader that has to be able to make these tough decisions and send the 350, the B, B-2 bombers out there, and the risk. You have to have a level of ice coldness to have this job, and he wants to stay as much there as possible instead of being the other way around.
Well, I think one of the big things with Trump is he he's not running a popularity contest. All these other people are running a popularity contest, and they don't want Saturday Night Live, and they don't want the New York Times, and they don't want late night hosts. They don't want anyone making fun of them. There's a side that you need to be on to get good notices from the LA Times, the New York Times, Saturday Night, to be invited to the right parties and stuff, and they're running a popularity contest. If you basically say, it's not a popularity contest, I don't care what people say, I want to get stuff done, it frees you of that burden. Because I sat with Gavin Newsom. Yeah. He doesn't believe anything he says. Everything he does is, how would the New York Times process what I'm saying? What side of this we want to be on?
I got to give you credit, because you said the word I was going to say, freeing. How freeing is it for you to be in California and
we're going to go into that,
grain?
Rob. We're going to go into that.
Gotcha.
Hang tight, Rob. Adam, we're going to go into that. Okay, so I'm glad you said that about Newsom, because we're going to go into that part. I want to start it off with this clip. So as you're watching this, to me, Newsom, we hear Newsom, but probably the most qualified person in this podcast right now to speak on Newsom is Adam Carolla. This is you sitting with him. If I'm not mistaken, this is 12 years ago.
Yes.
10 or 12 years ago when you guys are sitting down. He's in your set. He's in your podcast. Rob, if you want to play this clip, this 1 minute exchange between the two will give you some context, and then I want to hear from you. If Newsom's changed at all, has he won you over? Do you want to endorse him? Do you want to get behind him? Go ahead, Rob.
Of African Americans in the state of California, roughly half of Latino families have no access to a checking account or an ATM. Things we take for granted. They don't have a checking account.
What's wrong with them?
And well, because they don't have the resources to sock those things away.
Why do we have them?
A lot of different reasons.
Why those two groups don't have access?
Well, a lot of. Just happens to be that. We can talk about.
Flawed?
No, they're hardly flawed, but they're struggling.
Genetically
Folks are making
flawed.
Their word. Hardly, not absolutely.
But okay,
not.
Do Asians have this problem?
I mean, a lot of communities have. A lot of whites have these problems.
Oh, so that's not just black and Hispanic.
No, but
why did you bring up black and Hispanic?
Because the magnitude is ominous.
But why so many of them?
It just happens to be the magnitude.
That's the way God planned it?
Not at all.
Well, what happened to them?
There are a lot of issues, and that the communities are struggling. A lot
why
of new
are they
immigrants.
Struggling?
A lot of different reasons. The only reason why is the magnitude of
there's
the problem.
There's so many more.
The magnitude in percentage
But there's
terms
no way to figure out how that happened.
We could talk about that. You know what I'm dealing with? I don't want to have a sociological debate.
Sure, why would you?
No, here's why.
Why would you want to do that? Because the person from the Times wouldn't write good things about you if you did that.
No, that's not the case, because I want to deal with reality. No.
You want to deal with reality.
I want to deal with the reality of people that are struggling, people are suffering. I want to deal with the problems in a pragmatic way.
Why are they struggling and
suffering? I don't want an idea. We can hold hands and surmise about all these other
things. What did he say right after this interview was done? What did he tell you?
He's Teflon. He doesn't care. He's a sociopath. So he doesn't, it's like, did you feel bad after you killed your wife and her family? Like, no, I'm a sociopath. You know what I mean? I had wings.
How could I do that?
Yeah, he's a sociopath. He does not. You have to be a sociopath to answer questions that way, because I asked him 17 different times what is going on with these groups that they don't have access to checking accounts, which, by the way, is BS. I mean, the notion that half the black and Hispanics, California is half Hispanic. Do you know how many people wouldn't have access to a checking account if half of them? So he gets out of the gate with BS. Like, he just lies. I mean, you really think in modern times, half of the people in California don't have access to a checking account? And then when I try to get him to answer the question, he won't answer the question. By the way, this is not what you want in a leader. If I came, because he presented a problem. So if I came in to your home and I said, you got a big termite problem in this house, and then you went, how do we eradicate it? And I go, it just is. You know, and then you go, I know, but I want to fix it. How do we fix this problem? That's just the way it is. And then you go, but how do we get the termites out of the house? I go, a lot of houses have termites. And you keep asking the person, they won't provide an answer. It's his job to fix this stuff. Okay, you're in charge of California, and half the black and Hispanics don't have access to checking accounts. What's your plan? His answer, nothing. He just wanted to argue.
By the way, do you have the other clip? Because there's another clip with you on Newsom, if I'm not mistaken, right? There's the other one where, no, not that one. There's
Oh, there's one where I confronted him.
There's one that he confronted him that he sent it to you.
Yeah, that was a weird story.
I slacked it, Robbie.
Right here.
Right there.
Not that one. The other one, Rob.
You just had it.
That I can.
Right there, Rob.
There was
Rob,
that one.
Right, Rob, the one right before, right there.
Right there, that one, yeah.
There you go.
Adam Carolla here. Governor, why did you shut the beaches in California during COVID?
Yeah, I think we all were working on information at the time. We had no basis of deeply understanding the virus. I think they did the same thing.
So you didn't know anything, so why'd you shut the beaches?
States like Florida.
If you didn't know anything, why'd you shut the beaches?
Well, we didn't know. Yeah, because people were concerned early in the pandemic. Information was coming out as it relates to how it was transferred, the disease, and people were cautious, trying to keep people alive. And I should say this,
so
Adam,
you didn't let them go in the
health, wealth,
sunshine and get vitamin
California
D and exercise, so you shut the beaches. Okay. And you arrested a guy who was paddleboarding in the bay.
Health, wealth, and...
Yeah, any
it's always
science
good to see
behind
Adam.
that? Any science at all behind shutting outdoor dining? Why'd you shut down outdoor dining?
Look at him, dude. Ugh.
Go ahead, go. Science?
It's good to see Adam.
Based on
So,
science
look,
you didn't
at the end
have?
of the day, the debate tonight...
It's not a debate. You shut
I'm
down
looking
outdoor
forward to the
dining.
debate,
You canceled
compare and
businesses.
contrast
Had
tonight.
nothing to do with science.
Ugh.
All right, let him finish. All right, go ahead.
All this happened in the...
Yeah, I wasn't. He didn't know I was going to be there.
Oh, you're kidding.
Oh,
so
no.
who was the host? Who was the host?
That's why. Chris Cuomo. So Newsom, trust me, would have never spoke to me. No way would he have done that. What happened was...
How did Cuomo set that up? Without telling Newsom?
So here's what Cuomo did. Cuomo was doing his debate night coverage in New York, and I was in New York or something. He invited me and Stephen A. to sit down with him. And we were doing the whole debate night coverage thing. I didn't know anything. And then we went to a commercial after like an hour. And then he's like, oh, when we come back from commercial, Gavin Newsom's going to be joining us, via remote. And me and Stephen A. were just sitting there like next to him, like we're doing now. And I was like, all right, well, talk to him. And then right before we come back from commercial, he goes, and you guys ask him a question too.
Oh, beautiful.
And I was just sitting there going, Gavin Newsom, I'm going to ask him a question.
Wow.
And so everyone else asked him a debate question, but I went in on COVID.
Great.
And I just had 10 seconds, and he didn't know he was going to talk to me. That's why he said, good to see you again.
So let me ask you, with everything that's going on in California, and you've had this guy for, how long have you been living in California?
I was born there.
Okay, so your entire life you've been in California.
Yep.
And have you ever been tempted to leave the state?
No. California was the place where everyone else came to you. I lived in L.A., there was no reason to even dream of going. And by the way, when you're from L.A. and you're young, like places like, Kentucky or Idaho, you don't even know where those are. You think you got to ride a horse in those towns, chew tobacco and stuff. Like I was just like, everyone comes here. And that's the way it was, by the way. Every person came there. And then, later on when you get into comedy, you start doing improv and you have troops and hang with comedians and stuff. Every single one of them's from somewhere else. They all come here. That's why you can't get a good sports bar, a good like Rams sports bar. They're like 3 Steelers sports bars in LA, and there's no Rams sports bar because everyone is from somewhere else. And they all come here and they root for their team, But no, you would never dream of leaving LA in the past or California.
How much have things gotten better or worse while Newsom's been your governor? Have you seen at least something getting better?
I can't think of anything. I'm trying not to use too much hyperbole here. The stuff you see is homelessness. And the other thing that's you see in California, which is sort of counterintuitive, is garbage. Lots of garbage, lots of graffiti, lots of filth. Just filth. And it's weird because California, Golden State, and all that kind of stuff, beaches and sunshine and everything. The major cities are dirty, really dirty. It's homeless and just garbage and graffiti and sort of blight and filth everywhere, which is weird and depressing. And of course, gas is $5.50 a gallon with the worst roads. In the country.
You have no desire to run for governor.
No.
Zero.
No.
Is it 1%, 5%, 10%?
I've never. It comes up from time to time.
But you have no desire, no interest.
I don't,
because you're young.
I don't think about it. It's weird. I also come from poor people stock, and the poor people stock is sort of like, come on, you can't be the governor. Come on.
But you know why I think you would be interesting? Because I'm watching. And listen, if he doesn't like you, and you've gone toe to toe with him. The part with you that's interesting, Adam, is you were Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Didn't you have a show? Was it you and Jimmy? You and Jimmy Kimmel had a show together, right, back in the days.
Yeah.
So essentially, you came from that world. So was this what the show was, Rob? Can you zoom in a little bit? The Man Show, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So you guys came from this. So
you taught me everything I know, Adam Carolla.
Thank you, bad Adam.
You're welcome, great Adam. Governor of California.
No, it's
Adam
no
Carolla,
car Adam and cool car Adam.
Yes.
So there's a clip.
Uber Adam will call you.
Right, baby.
And will call me Super
I'll pick
Adam.
you up around 8.
So this is a clip of when the fires happened at the Palisades, right? Mm-hmm. And we all saw this video of you. Is this you right there in front of the Palisades? Right. I think this is you kind of highlighting what's going on.
Is this about the permit and the Coastal Commission?
Yes. So I want to get an update on what's happened since because we kept talking about it. This was everywhere. Okay. This
isn't that clip. This is a more recent vlog. The clip that did go everywhere, and these vlogs got a lot of traction, but I was displaced to a hotel room. I had to flee that night, the fires, because I was living in Malibu. And then I ended up in a hotel room in Burbank. And it would be the same as, like you said, look, we got a podcast to do tomorrow, but the studio all the power was out and there was no place to do it. So I just put a microphone and a chair in the hotel room I'd rented in Burbank. And so this is the following morning. So the fires were in the evening and probably still going. And I just woke up the next morning, so about 6 hours after the fires, and I said, be prepared for what's going to happen. Because I worked as a contractor in Los Angeles most of my adult life, and so I understood permitting and downtown and plan check and plan approval and engineering, and I knew what it took to build, and I knew how difficult they made it. They make it almost impossible to do anything. So I went on a little rant sort of telling everyone, don't expect permits in rebuilding.
Yeah. And I remember that. And by the way, just to kind of put into context what that looked like, Rob, if you want to show this clip of what the fires were like, it looked like you're watching a movie. Mm-hmm. When you're seeing it, you're like, there's no way in the world this is real. The amount of stories, you're like, is this really happening? They can't figure out a way to stop this. Everybody we would talk to, we gave $100,000+ to a bunch of families ourselves here on the podcast.
Exactly.
When we would make the phone call, Vinny, people would cry. They're like, wait, what are you calling for?
People are shocked.
It looks like Armageddon.
Yeah. So, and by the way, this is even nothing, Rob.
Yeah.
This is like elementary compared to some of the stuff. Rob, go back to the clip of Adam.
Is that Sepulveda?
No, that's probably
maybe Sunset.
So Adam, if you don't mind, maybe narrate. What are you going to talk about in this video? Because it shows actually what it looks like today.
I've been doing a vlog, and I've been doing a sort of checking in 6 months, 9 months. What building's going on. As a former builder, I understand what it takes to build, and there was no building going on. There were lots for sale along PCH. On the ocean side, little lots that were about 7,000 square foot. Like, that's a small lot, as you guys know. $5-6 million for an empty
7,000
for sand. Jeez. I mean, literally, and what's left of the foundation. So I met with the Army Corps of Engineers. I went with the Army Corps of Engineers and explained how they how they clear the lot, mm-hmm. how they recycle the materials, the concrete, they pulverize the concrete, they pull the steel out. So this is just me and my guy Andrew, who's in the next room, by the way. Him and his he's got his drone, and we flew over, we captured, and we just been doing this sort of renegade style.
Go ahead, Rob. Let's play it.
Probably out of 13 or 14 lots, 5 of them are for sale. I hear most going to Chinese folk who are buying them all up. These are lots that are probably $6 million a piece, maybe 7,000, 7,500 square feet. So very small lots, very expensive lots. And as you can see, the people who lived here for years, these are family homes, have chosen not to try to rebuild. All right, something is going on because I counted 8 lots for sale.
This is just in front of my house.
Of my residence. And that's a short run. I mean, that's out of maybe 25 or 30 lots, 8 of them are for sale. So I don't know if the Chinese are buying them all up, and I don't know how it works, but there's an inordinate amount of lots being sold and not being rebuilt by the owners. And obviously you can see there's no rebuilding going on by any owner on PCH. As predicted from the hotel room one day after the fire, and I say one day after the fire, I mean 8 hours after the fire, I sat in that hotel room in Burbank and I said, there shall be no rebuilding because there will be no giving of permits. Sure. And we're 9 months and I don't see one stitch of building materials. So lots of lots.
Adam, literally there's nobody that's building anything.
Zero rebuild.
No.
Not one.
Not one in Malibu. In the Palisades, there's some sporadic building up in the hills above Malibu, but there's zero in Malibu because I think they have to deal with the Coastal Commission and also the houses that burned down in the Palisades. So I've sort of figured some of this stuff out. The Palisades stuff, if the house was built recently and you were sort of grandfathered in, you had all the permits, you had all the engineering, you had the plans and designs. So let's just say you built a house in the Palisades 5 years ago and it burned down in the fire. Well, you could just take all your permits and all your plans and all your engineering and just reuse it.
Right.
But if you wanted to start from a fresh sheet of paper, then that's going to take a while. And all their expediting BS, about how they're going to have a special office to expedite, or why should anyone have to go to 13 different offices? Why not put it all under one roof? All that stuff's out the window. They didn't do any of it.
How long would it take on an expedited way of getting permits? What's the fastest your friends, maybe people that you know in that community that have gotten permits?
I don't know anyone who got permits in that community. You theoretically, it's not a long process. I mean, you draw up the plans, then you get engineering, then you take the plans to plan check, and they look at the plans, and then they stamp them, and then you have your plans to go build off of. It doesn't take that long to frame a house and to complete a house. Really, it's not that long a process. It moves pretty quickly, but they haven't moved at all. And most of it is in the foundation and in the septic. All those houses are on septic, and they're all going to have to be redone. And the foundation, they're on the ocean. I mean, there is one house in all of Malibu. There's one that they started on. I went and looked at this thing. They are doing, maybe I can ask your engineer to look for this, or my guy Andrew. I sent him a picture of it. I ran it in my show, in my podcast the other day, a photograph of a caisson rig, the hole driller, the big hole driller, and the caisson cage they're going to drop in it. It was 7 stories long, meaning you got to drill down 7 stories. You got to drill down. There's a photo out there somewhere. I don't know, Adam Carolla show, caisson rebar or something. I took a picture of it. They're going to spend $3 million on the foundation because it's near the ocean. It's California. It's earthquake. It's all the stuff. The amount of it is unbelievable. How much money is going into that foundation? Literally, caisson rigs. They're going to drill multiple holes, 6 or 7 stories deep into the sand, and then drop a rebar cage into it and then fill it, pump concrete into it. It's unbelievable.
Tom, what do you know about this? What's going on right now?
So I rebuilt a house off of Sepulveda at Don Pio, which is down at the bottom, right near Ventura Boulevard. And then I did a partial rebuild up in Northridge. And going through plan check was incredible. And this was 2005. And all we did was some extension of the kitchen, other things, and they forced me to rip off 2 sides of the house and put in shear walls.
Yeah. Yep. All right. That's earthquake stuff.
Well, by the way, this house had been through 71 earthquake and was still there. It went to 73 earthquake.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, wait a minute. If you're worried about earthquakes, this was built to the oldest standards imaginable, and it survived 2 of the worst we had, including the Northridge earthquake.
Shear wall is where you strip all the stucco or the siding off the side of it. You take 1/2-inch plywood and you stick it on the side, and then there's a nailing schedule, and you nail the crap of it out. Well, you can't just yell shear wall out.
Oh, okay, yeah. So in other words, they force you.
It's a lot of work.
They force you to go in and do an incredible amount of surgery. But what I've read about what's going on is that
there it is. By the way, sorry.
If you're going to build, the first thing that you have to fight is the Coastal Commission that is updating its requirements right now, and they really don't want the houses rebuilt. There is 60% of the votes on the Coastal Commission that actually don't want.
Why don't they?
They want the beauty of the coast to be restored and to remove the septic tanks and to remove all the interconnect for electricity and everything. Well, the phone poles went down. It was above ground wiring there. And they want it to be restored to boulder-like dumps, just like they did out at Point Magoo up there. You go all the way up PCA to Point Magoo. There's this one rock that's split in the middle that they drilled PCH through back in the day. And they've all these boulders and rocks are on there. It's very, very beautiful. But in this case, this is Malibu that belonged to people that had bought it fair and square. That was their property. That the Coastal Commission is dragging feet because they don't really want it done. And then second, you've got the new, see those? You have the new standard. Just like the reason I brought up my house, they said, well, if you're going to do the kitchen, then we're going to force you to do the shear wall surgery to bring your house up, Pat, to the new standard. That, what Adam with the cool cars, that
7 stories.
Is what they're saying is the new standard to build the seawall. You know what you have in Fort Lauderdale, where you have the 18-inch higher seawalls now?
Yes.
Multiply that times infinity, and that's what you got with the Coastal Commission is finally allowing.
Why are they saying why?
Because they are doing
What's
this.
their argument?
Their argument is anti-erosion, and I think some people think that this is probably 3x the engineering requirement, that they're literally trying to make it prohibitive.
Yes. So they don't say it out loud, but
am I tracking?
Yeah, no, they don't say it out loud, but what they want is nothing. They're process people. They don't want you building anything, and they're there to stop you from doing it. Now, there can't be a Department of Building in Denial because they have to pretend like they're there. So it's basically
building and safety.
It's like you saying, I'm going to open a store where I sell golf apparel. And they go, okay. And then someone comes in, they go, how much for that golf ball? $2,000. They go, oh, that's too much. And they leave. And then the next person comes in, I want to buy that golf hat. How much? $7,500. Okay, that's too much. They leave. So at a certain point, are you trying to sell this, or you just want to say you have a store and then you go, don't come at me. I run a golf store. You know what I mean? But it's like they act like they're there to facilitate. They're not. They're there to repel. And so it gets so expensive and so cost prohibitive and so timely. Alan Hamill and Suzanne Summers, all right?
That's a very old name, Suzanne Summers. Used
big
to be amazing.
Friends of mine. Their house burned in the fire previous to this, 10 years, 15 years before that. They said it was such a process to try to rebuild their house that they picked up and they left. They went to Palm Springs. They said they loved Malibu, but it was so much grief from the Coastal Commission. They couldn't take it. And by the way, when you're 80, you don't have 7 years to get a permit. So this is California. This is how they roll. And one last thing about those caissons that you guys are going to find. It's incredible what they have to do. They're sinking those like they're building the World Trade Center, right? This is a 1,500 square foot single family home that's going to go on this thing, right? The former houses that were there, that were built in the 40s, in the 50s, and even earlier, are all just on pylons. The pier is a half mile from there. The pier is just built on telephone poles that were mashed down into the ground. That's how they would do it.
You're talking about up by the old Alice's restaurant?
Yeah. The pier's from 1903. It's built on telephone poles that were smashed down into the ground by Irishmen at
That's
5
exactly
feet
right.
into the sand. And 120 years later, it's still
there. They go.
It's still there. That's my whole point.
Wow.
These houses were built on telephone poles that were mashed into the ground, built, and they were there for 60 years. Then the fire came. Now you got to drill 7 stories down, put 10 caissons, $10 million.
So can I ask you a question, Adam?
It's the $2,000 golf ball. That's what they're throwing at it. And guess what? Guess who the only buyers are?
Chinese?
Insanely wealthy Chinese.
Right, because
you ready for some unintended consequences. You're going to talk about affordable
Where
housing.
are people going, though? So some of the folks that had the properties there, where did they go to? What did they do?
The ones that didn't want to leave California went to Orange County, where it's a little bastion of sort
Manhattan
of
Beach-ish.
a little red. It's like a little. It's
Corona Del Mar, Balboa Isle.
Yeah, they'll go to like cleaner, nicer sort of the folks who really still want to be by the ocean.
How many people do you know that from the water, the money folks that just left?
Well, a lot of them have a $3 million, let's say, insurance worth of coverage, which is not going to cover
The Fair Act.
the rebuild. Right. So they don't have enough in the bank, and they don't have enough insurance, and they can't rebuild. And a lot of those houses, and I've met with a fair number of these people, like family homes from the 50s, kind of a weird thing. It'd be like saying, well, we drove a Duesenberg, and now it's worth $10 million. But back then it was like our family car, These are houses from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. They were, not cost prohibitive back then. Family could buy a house, live in that neighborhood, school teachers, you know what I mean? Now they're $10 million houses. So they don't have the money to rebuild.
So, Adam, when it comes to the actual fires, I've been saying for 2025, my word was accountability. And it seems like we never get any accountability, especially with anybody in government that gets in trouble. But I know they arrested a 29-year-old Uber driver that was from Florida that was there doing the Ubers in Palisades that got caught. He was arrested for the fires, all the acres, 12 people dead. Karen Bass, that you mentioned earlier, she was out of town doing some dance and got wherever she was.
This guy?
Yes.
That's the guy that was arrested, 29-year-old Uber driver. Pat, he's from Florida, but he was there doing Ubers, walked up and started the fire. It's a lot of weird stuff, but I wanted to ask you, and when it comes to like Karen Bass not being here, and then Gavin Newsom literally standing, yeah, he is, literally standing on the ash of these people's houses, dead bodies, whatever, and he's talking about, and he was doing that little dance where he's like, I talked to Josh Green, the governor from Hawaii, and we're talking about some land grabbing and all that stuff. Like, what is any accountability going to happen to these people? The response was horrible. There was no water. Mind you, they were right next to an ocean. Like, any accountability, number one, and does this affect, because Californians just keep voting for these people. I'm so baffled by the, like, they'll vote. If Gavin had a chance to do it, they'd probably vote him to go back in.
Yeah, no, there isn't accountability because they're in charge of the accountability. You know what I mean? I mean, think about what's going on now.
It's true.
Well, you think about what Trump's doing right now, right? So what if Kamala Harris was the president? Would there be any indictments? Would there be any
the other way around
paperwork?
For sure.
They'd probably go the other way, right? They'd be going after Don Jr., right? So who's in charge? Well, whoever's in charge is not in the accountability business. These are their friends.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, the question of, do we start voting differently? Because it's a question I would talk to Dr. Drew about all the time. And the answer would always be, we haven't bottomed out yet, And
Exactly.
I would say,
need to bottom out.
You know what I would say all the time to people? I go, listen, we haven't bottomed out yet, would be the answer.
There's still time, though, Mr. Carolla.
Well, the fire could have been the bottoming out.
No, there's still lower to go.
I would say to people, when they would always go, we haven't bottomed out yet. I say, imagine if you had a son as 16-year-old son, and you went to the bedroom and you saw syringes with heroin in them, and you'd seen he'd thrown up in his sleep again, and the cops brought him home with a DUI or something, and somebody said, let's get this kid into rehab, would you say, yeah, but his heart hasn't stopped yet? Like I haven't seen him flatline. I want to wait till he's got a flatline, and then we could put the paddles on him and maybe bring him back. And I, as a parent, would say, let's get him into rehab now. We can see everything that's going on. It's very clear. Why do we have to wait to bottom out?
So I guess the question then would be, in regards to California, are you optimistic about the new talent that has, just taken the, she's just a rock star, Katie Porter? Are you like super optimistic that she's going to be? I mean, look, when you see clips like this of Katie, I'm in love. I'm telling you guys right now.
Oh, you're talking about Katie Potato?
She is, Porter? She is absolutely amazing. Rob, if you want to play this clip,
the potatoes.
This is when love at first sight. When she talks like you like this is a keeper. Rob, can you play this clip, please?
Get out of my fucking shot.
Oh. She just talks dirty.
Yeah.
She talks dirty too. Get out of my
Okay. It does. Okay. You also were in my shot before that.
Now, this breaks my heart. What breaks my heart, Rob, if you don't mind playing the Harry Ensign clip of what happened with her, percentages of what she could have done, because to me, this is a once-in-a-generation type of a talent. You don't find people like this. This is like Ohtani. This is like Aaron Judge. This is like an A-Rod coming through. And California is going to waste this incredible talent that they have. Watch the stats. 10,000% increase on Google searches. Rob, go ahead.
Hey, Laura, I'm looking around, and I don't seem to see anyone in my shot over there. So I guess that makes me a little bit unlike Katie Porter, right? But look, the Katie Porter snappings, they have been heard around the world. And I think that Katie Porter's making history because she has potentially annihilated her chances to be the next governor of California, more so than any other candidate I've ever seen so quickly. My goodness gracious. What are we talking about right here? Well, let's take a look. Chance to be the next California governor. According to the Kalshi prediction market, Katie Porter's chances have fallen through the floor. Just 2 days ago, she was the plurality leader in the prediction markets at 40%. Now, get this, her chance has fallen by more than half to just 16%. My goodness gracious. Meanwhile, Alex Padilla, who's not even running for governor of California at this point, he's a sitting senator from that state, his chances have gone up through the roof from 10% all the way to 27%, nearly gone up threefold. Now, one of the big reasons why the prediction markets have moved so much on Katie Porter's chances to be the next governor of California is because people are really interested in this story. Take a look here. Google searches for Katie Porter at an all-time high, despite Katie Porter having a long political career. Get this, up over 10,000% versus just a week ago. And not so surprisingly, the top topic searched alongside Katie Porter at this point, interview. It turns out maybe you shouldn't snap at a local political reporter. But I'll tell you who else can't get enough of the Katie Porter story besides just the voters out in California and the people in the United States at large. It's Fox News. Fox News, if you have tuned in over the last 2 days, and you tune in a particular hour, there's a pretty good chance you're going to see Katie Porter. I mean, look at all of these segments that Fox News has been doing. Indeed, I looked it up. There have been segments featuring Katie Porter, get this, over 20 times, 20 plus times over just the last 2 days alone. Fox News can't get enough of her. But the Katie.
So are you excited about her at least being your governor instead of Newsom? Like there's got to be a little bit of enthusiasm with her, though, no?
Hey, I'm interested to like a tater tot type level, not a full
Katie potato,
Yukon Gold loaded steakhouse, chives, cheddar on the side, size. I'm gonna manage it at a
Can
tot
I change
level.
your mind at least like this? I mean, think about this here. When you think about somebody like this, in spring of 2006, I made mashed potatoes for dinner. This is her. Our oldest child, Luke, was sitting next to me in his high chair as I was getting ready for dinner. Petitioner looked at I think this is the husband saying it?
That's the husband saying
it. Petitioner looked at the potatoes in the ceramic bowl and yelled at me, "Can't you read the effing instructions?" She then took the ceramic bowl of steaming hot potatoes and dumped it on my head, burning my scalp. I am concerned for my safety and the safety of our children. Petitioners' behavior has only gotten worse, more unpredictable and unstable, and the outbursts of abuse and anger have increased.
I think this
now
is her
she's
ex-husband
resorting
saying this.
to making false allegations about me. Wouldn't you want somebody this tough to be your leader?
I don't want to be a hypocrite. I will be 100% honest. I don't care about bedside manner. You know, I don't care about General Patton yelling at a guy to get up because he's got the shakes and get out there and fight. I love football coaches. I love generals. I don't care about someone wants to yell at their assistant.
I think she's your type.
I don't care, and evidently single now as well. So I don't mind any of that stuff. I was on to Katie Porter about 5 or 6 years ago because some bank, it was Washington Mutual or B of A or something, issued a statement sort of saying, like, save your money, don't buy, you know, if you can walk to the restaurant, walk to the restaurant, don't take an Uber, make your own coffee, don't spend $8 at Starbucks. And then she tore into the bank for suggesting people save their money. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this witch is nuts. She's nuts because it's the advice your grandfather would have said. Like if you said, I moved out of the house, I don't have any money, you go, stop going out to eat. Why don't you make yourself food at home? Yeah. Why don't you get a little exercise, take a walk, don't hire an Uber or a car. It was all grandfatherly, old school advice. And she, along with Liz Warren, dug into the bank and attacked the bank and said, why don't you pay your employees and blah, blah, blah. This is, I don't know how long. Is this like 5 years?
2019.
Okay, 6 years ago. So I found this out, and I was like, okay, this bitch is nuts. And I don't want her anywhere near the controls of government. So you want me to read it?
Go for it.
Okay, so they do a thing with Chase Bank, and they do something cute with your checking account, your savings account. So why is my balance so low? Bank account, make coffee at home. Don't you make food at home? Don't take a cab, walk, get some exercise. And so it's you having a talk with your bank account saying, I need more money in you, and your bank account's going, save. Here's some practical ways to save. She then writes back, hey, Chase, try paying your workers more. Families aren't spending frivolously. They're trying to pay rent. Okay, but that's not what they're saying. They're saying don't spend a bunch of money on sushi. Yeah. Make yourself food at home. So I was like, okay, she's dumb and she doesn't know what she's talking about. Liz Warren has to jump in. All the usual nut jobs. It's the most innocent. It's the most innocent thing the bank could say, which is save your money. Don't spend it on lattes and sushi.
I like that. Save that money.
Right, but she goes in on the bank and says that people are saving it for rent. And by the way, if you save money for lattes, you'll also have more money for rent. It could all go to rent. But anyway, she's a cow.
I want to ask,
but we won't have victims, and we gotta have victims. That's a foundational. Right. That's a foundational playbook of the Dems and the Libs. I gotta have a victim. So if you see something like that, you have to flip it upside down and put the victims in a voting block. Try to get them free stuff and run to the
right. But I hated her 6 years ago. After this,
you're old school. You're an early adopter on the hate train.
And the yelling at the assistant part made me like her a little bit more, but I'm still angry over this.
Well, I have a question for Governor Carolla. I don't know if you announced it yet, but I think PBD is going to push for you because they do need some advocacy out there. My question is this: why should people care about California? Hear me out. You guys are all California guys, born and raised. You've lived there your whole life. I'm a Miami guy. You know how they say like 80% of people don't care about your problems, 20% glad you have them? I don't know where I'm at on California, but I'm certainly on. I really don't care.
Yeah.
And I know we talk about Newsom all the time. We talk about Katie Porter now. She's sort of the villain, the heel on Fox News. In my opinion, Katie Potato, she's a train wreck. So they're just going to highlight that. California's sinking. Doesn't affect me at all. They're moving everywhere. They say, don't California, my Texas.
Right.
I was in Miami this weekend. I was at this amazing, ridiculous house on the Venetian, like just mansion. I was like, oh, like these guys were all Silicon Valley guys that moved here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why'd you move it? They're like, dude, we're done with that state. Let's be optimistic. Like Pat tries to do, future looks bright. How do you get out of this mess? I know that the kid is in the, basement doing whatever the syringes. How do you turn the tide here? Because it seems to me that you guys won't change it, and the rest of the country really doesn't care about you guys.
Yeah.
Stay woke, stay broke, good luck. How do you fix this?
Well, first off, you said California was sinking because we need to put those caissons deeper into bedrock.
Exactly.
They're only
That's the
40
stucco.
feet into bedrock.
It's always
we
the
need to
stucco.
go
We know
50
that.
feet into bedrock.
Of course.
All right. I was saying the other day, and you can tell me if you like this analogy or not. California is like an old Ferrari that has completely fallen into disrepair, and it needs a restoration, but it's still a classic Ferrari. Like, it's got the bones, it's got the lines, you know what I mean? It would, if you have an old Pinto or an old Chevy Vega and it's rusting out, someone says junk it. But if you have an old Ferrari Dino or Daytona, someone goes, put 500 grand into it, don't junk it, because it was once something. And California has the topography and the bones to be something because it once was something. So there is an element of wanting to just walk away from it. But on the other hand, you wouldn't walk away from a classic Ferrari. You would invest. But now, who's going to rebuild it? Because no one is rebuilding it. It's just sitting out in the yard and getting rustier and falling apart every day. Every year that goes by, it costs another 20 grand to restore that Ferrari because it's getting worse, and now there's raccoons living in the trunk, right? So, those are Lamborghinis. Yeah. The point is it's worth saving. Yeah. Where's the will? Where's the shop that can restore it? And then who's got the will to restore it?
Because I agree with you on the Ferrari thing, or I know you're a Porsche guy, but how do you actually save it? There's homelessness, there's crime, it's everything, the regulation, everything you talked about. What are the solutions?
I think that the most ardent leftists and the most progressive and the most whoever from San Francisco or Los Angeles, eventually when enough homeless people pile up in front of their bay window and their car gets broken into enough and enough stuff burns down, eventually even they hit their saturation point, and they're not going to say it out loud, but they are going to start voting differently.
And then how long is that going to take? Because it seems
200 years.
Okay, a couple hundred years.
Yeah.
Well, good luck out there, California.
To you is, even if it's like this till the day you die and it doesn't change, you ain't leaving the state.
No, I am. I'm leaving.
Oh, are you really?
Yeah.
Where?
Moving in here.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, we got plenty of room.
Did you see? You didn't see the cot when you came in?
Let's go. Hey, don't you California my Florida boy? Don't you leave that woke stuff in California.
There is a story that came out that talks about California tempted to leave it all behind for Miami's scorching real estate market. And I think the story is, though California and Florida share several similarities, warm climates, expensive beaches, large population, diverse cultures, many Californians are leaving the high-tax, heavily regulated state and flooding into the Sunshine State luxury market. Miami represents a new start, a refreshing reset. I think that it's a place where policies, economics, and lifestyle science align all together. Mass Capital CEO Camilo Miguel Jr., whose company is developing the Ciprianis residence in Miami and Paragon, Miami Beach, told Fox it's definitely good for their wallets and help them have a little bit more buying power. He continued the advantages here outweigh the drawbacks there. At the under construction Cipriani, 40% of his summer buyers come from the West Coast. In the last 6 months, web traffic has risen 14% to rank just beyond New York in terms of domestic traffic. Additionally, at the Paragon, about 10% of its buyers are from California. So it's kind of happening. There's some of the move that's taking place where people are looking at other places to go to from California.
It's the luxury market, though, is the good and the bad thing, right?
It's not necessarily the low and middle income.
Basically, this is my point, is if you got money, you can go wherever you want to go. If you're just a normal working class person, you're stuck in California.
Not necessarily. A lot of the working class are going to Nevada. A lot of the working class. And by the way, Vegas is not the Vegas of 20 years ago. Every time I go to Vegas, the foot traffic is less and less and less. There's almost 3 million people living in Vegas within a 25-mile radius. You got Henderson, you got all this other stuff, like actual regular life. From the outside, we think if we live in Vegas, we'd be at the casinos every day. But the people who live in Vegas are like, no, it's just something that's there that you don't necessarily go to. So they do have options. Some are looking at Nevada, some are looking at Arizona, some are looking at Idaho, some are looking at different places. Texas is definitely on that list as well.
Let me ask you a follow-up on this, Pat, because I know you've encouraged a lot of people to get out of California. I don't know if you caught the messaging there, Mr. Carolla. Within PHP, your company, how many people lived in California?
So funny you say this. So that's the perfect example. So my top 5 earners we used to be 98% California when we started the insurance company. And Time Magazine came out, I want to say in 2014, 2015. Rob, can you type in the United States of Texas, Time Magazine? United States of Texas. Go to images if you could, Rob. United States, that's the one right there. I bought an issue of this, 2013. I bought an issue of this, and I gave it to all my executives at the office, and I said, guys, we're moving to Texas. If you look at the issue when this came out, go a little bit lower. It's 2013, October 28, 2013, and I started telling them why. And one by one, I started telling Gaitan. Gaitan's like, oh, I don't know, we're never going to leave. I started talking to all these other guys. They're California people. Vargas was the first to move to Houston. Gaitan's now in Houston. Palaio's now in Austin. Jason's in Dallas. So many of the guys, one by one, moved the state. So I knew, and by the way, you know what the main thing was? It's so funny he said this. Elizabeth Warren was grilling the CEO of, not WAMU, because WAMU had already been bought by Chase. It was Citigroup, Primerica, and a couple other guys, and they were talking about overregulation. I was looking at California. I'm like, why would insurance companies stay here? I said, I'm telling my wife's from Houston. Babe, I'm not going back to Texas. I said, babe, I'm going to Texas. So I had to sell my nanny, and then we eventually moved to Texas, and then we moved everybody else to Texas. And then I encourage everybody to move out of Texas, California, to go to Texas, Florida, Nevada, Tennessee, a couple other places. A couple of my guys went to DMV, which is not the same as it is in that place. But people have to make that decision for themselves. It's not easy. The only place in the world that I know all the freeways is California. The only place. If I go to LA, you close my eyes, I'm going to make it to my destination. It doesn't matter what freeways I go through. I'm going to get to that place. It is a beautiful place. It is a beautiful climate. But you can live in the most incredible, beautiful place, beautiful weather, but the policies are bad. You will leave. 2 nights ago, you know what movie we watched? We watched Scarface.
Amazing.
Okay? We're watching Scarface, and it's funny. Julio Gonzalez literally connects me the day after in the morning. He's like, it's so funny when you talked about Miami and all this stuff on the podcast. Not many people talk about what happened with Miami and because of Cubans. I'm like, we just watched Scarface literally this weekend. You see why people leave beautiful climates. Because at the end of the day, you want me to be afraid, like to be walking on eggshells with policies, and you don't want me to be a businessman? You lost Rogan, you lost Elon, you lost a bunch of different guys. Can you keep anybody? Can you keep anybody? And now, who's on the right that's going to compete against this guy? Who? They got a couple names. None of them have any legs. You don't have a single person that's got actual celebrity status thing.
You mean compete against Newsom, you're saying?
Katie Porter.
Oh, Katie Porter, gotcha.
Honestly, there needs to be. In
California.
When Larry Elder ran, good guy. But there needs to be an Adam Carolla-ish type of guy that runs.
Yep.
Not a Larry Elder. Great guy. California needs a guy that has, think about when you're listening to Adam Carolla right now, what does he say? Tom made one comment about the shrubs. What did you say? Tom made one comment about when he was rebuilding a house, and he had to correct him. Do you know why he corrected him?
Yeah, he did.
Because he understands building. I bet if we said anything right now about comedy and we were just kind of bullshitting, he's like, no, that's actually not how it is. If we said something about Hollywood, he would be able to talk about the agents and history. You need somebody that is versatile to go, that even some of the center leftists that are Kennedy leftists in Hollywood will be like, you know what, I'd be okay trying Carolla for 4 years. That's what I mean by it. So the only way something can happen in California, you need somebody like his pedigree, his background to go, who is fearless, who doesn't give a shit about wanting the New York Times story like you told Newsom. You need someone like that. But instead, who is Republicans getting? Can you give me the Republican candidates for governor for 2028? Is this it, Rob? 2026? Okay.
Republican candidate?
But this is just all the candidates.
Okay. Steve Hilton, Republican candidate. We spoke him out of Memorial. Nice guy. Chad Bianco, Republican, Riverside, 7%. Villagrosa, 5%. Villagrosa's Twitter account's got 800 followers. The guy doesn't stand a chance.
I think he's up to 1,000 now since you gave him a shout out.
Javier Becerra, 18%. I mean, there was a moment where we heard that possibly Grinnell would run. I don't know if you remember when the Grinnell conversation came about. Do you know who Grinnell is?
No.
Rob, are you familiar with Grinnell? I think it's
Rick Grinnell.
Rick Grinnell. No. Richard Grinnell. He's a beast of a guy. To be able to run, he could potentially pull
on the Republican side.
On the Republican side,
can a Republican even get elected in California? Or do they have to say they're a Democrat and then switch?
What kind of a Republican?
That's Caruso.
A normal one?
Yeah.
Caruso has to say he's a Democrat, but he'll think like a Republican.
He still says stuff that's Democratic. He still defends the nonsense. He still says keep the ICE out. He still says stuff that's like, well, he's still not for safety. He's still not like, don't send the National Guard. He still says some stuff that I'm sitting there saying, like, you're so apologetic, dude. Just talk about safety.
Here's what I think about Caruso. I think if he got elected, you'd see the real Rick Caruso. There's a California, LA, got to do business in this town version of him, where I'm not saying he's lying. I'm just saying he's getting along. You know what I mean? And if he got into power, because it is commercial building is his background. I think if he got elected, you'd see a more conservative, different version of Rick Caruso.
You think so?
I do.
So you're saying in order to win in California, you sort of have to be a wolf in sheep's clothing, in actually a good way. You have to pretend you're woke. You have to pretend you're for the chaos. And then when you get in, you can say, actually, I'm normal.
Yeah, it'd be like,
so you have to lie.
Yeah, if you go to
like
college, you have to have to say you're bisexual so you can get along. You know?
What case study?
Yeah, it's like when I go to the gay clubs, I have to pretend
what case
I'm
study?
gay, and then I switch it.
What case study of that do we have that worked?
Oh, the wolf in sheep's clothing?
Of a good guy. What case study do we have of that? Did Arnold work? Arnold was the opposite. Arnold acted like a Republican, but what did Arnold do for California?
Yeah,
he was just famous.
Well, you got to fight the legislature over there, and that's hard. Like, now you get into power. I mean, you remember Trump's first term.
Chaos.
He gets into power, but he doesn't realize that everyone else, he thinks he's safe inside the fort. All the bad guys are in the fort with him, looking out the window going, where are the bad guys? They're in the fort. He didn't know it was within. So California, obviously, governor helps, but you're doing battle with all of Sacramento over there. I mean, they still have their horrible
Well, you have to have
ideas.
someone that goes with brass to call out all the bullshit.
Right.
Because if you don't go, like the perfect case study is what? What made, look at the stuff Trump is accomplishing right now. He is the perfect case study of a guy that came in and is getting the stuff that is getting done after Obama, and Obama was supposed to be the black Jesus, right, of the Democratic Party. And what did he do? He dismantled almost all of it. Not all of it yet, but he's doing it. So anyways, we'll see what's going to happen there. Let's talk about China. Trump announces 100% tariffs, additional 100% tariff on China beginning November 1st. And Rob, I think you got two clips on this. One is the story about it, and the other one is China responding to it. So let me go through this with the story. So President Trump took on Truth Social, if you have the tweet, Friday to announce that U.S. will impose an additional 100% tariff on imports from China beginning November. This announcement was made hours after a separate post from Trump in which he warned of possible new tariffs and suggested canceling a meeting with Chinese President Xi, claiming Beijing was planning sweeping export controls on rare earth minerals. Here's his tweet. It's just been learned that China has taken an extraordinarily aggressive position on trade and sending an extremely hostile letter to the world, stating that they were going to effectively on November 1st impose large-scale export controls on virtually every product they make, and some not even made by them. This affects all countries without exception and was obviously a plan devised by them years ago. It is obviously unheard of international trade and a moral disgrace in dealing with other nations based on the fact that China has taken this unprecedented position and speaking only for the U.S. and not other nations who were similarly threatened starting November 1st, 2025 or sooner, depending on further actions by China. The United States will impose a 100% tariff. And above these tariffs currently paying November 1st, it is impossible to believe that China would have taken such an action, but they have, and the rest is history. Thank you for your attention to this matter. By the way, China responds, and here's what they said. China isn't afraid. Beijingers shrug off Trump's tariff threat. Go ahead, Rob.
The tariff station was initiated by the United States. China takes necessary countermeasures. It is to safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of seniors and international fairness and justice. Completely reasonable and legal. China's position has always been clear. There are no winners in the tariff war. China is not willing to fight, but I'm not afraid of being beaten either. If the United States really wants to solve the problem through dialogue and negotiation, we should stop applying extreme pressure. Stop threatening to increase. On the basis of equality and respect. Dialogue with China.
Okay, Tom, thoughts on this story?
Well, so he brokered this incredible peace deal we were talking about, But there is a hot war, trade war going on with China. And this is very, very, very serious. China is not going away. They may have capitulated or kind of, just to use your phrase, they just kind of got along over the last 4 months. But now it's coming back heavy. There's a couple things that they're doing on chips, because what do they still want? China still wants to take over Taiwan.
Yep.
And Taiwan's got a bunch of chips, and it's chips that they want to have purview over and control over the manufacturing of. So recently, with all this, China's like, look, you're running around the world and you're trying to do mineral deals with, rare earth deals with Greenland. You're trying to put the rare earth deal, excuse me, into the deal with Ukraine because the United States needs rare earth. Okay, first of all, we're going to put our thumb down on the button on these minerals and rare earth things that people need to make turbines, electric cars. Trump did a deal a couple of weeks ago. I'm not crazy about the fact that now the U.S. government owns 10% of a lithium company, but it was all about making sure there's enough of these minerals and everything to go into it. China sees that and sees America slowly working around the table, getting a little more independence, and they get pissed. And last week, which was not really reported a lot, actually it wasn't talked about a lot in the shadow of everything else, but they went after Qualcomm and NVIDIA because they know that Qualcomm and NVIDIA are going to run to the White House to get help. And now China's got this triangle of negotiation they're trying to put in place. Qualcomm bought a company called Autotalks. NVIDIA bought a company called Mellanox. And now China is saying, hang on, you buying these companies, we're concerned about antitrust. We're concerned about too much market power. We want to put this under review. And, meanwhile, Qualcomm and NVIDIA have permission to sell certain chips to China. Not the really good stuff, but some of them. So China is playing the game. It's a chess game. They're playing 3D chess on this, Pat, and they're trying to get a couple U.S. companies, Qualcomm and NVIDIA, to get upset and go to the White House and say, hey, we need some help here. And they're also trying to put pressure on things on the rare earth minerals. China is not going away.
When does this
and
tweet,
all
by the
this
way?
happy talk.
This morning.
By the way, this is what he tweeted today. Don't worry about China. We'll be fine. Highly respect the President Xi. Just had a bad moment.
He's letting him know.
He doesn't want depression for his country, and neither do I. The USA wants to help China, not hurt it, President Donald Trump.
So in other words, China got Trump's attention. And so he's making a statement here.
China got Trump's attention?
Yeah. Well, on this, he's got his attention. In the midst of everything else, he's tweeting this on this day, which I think shows that it is a hot battle and we got to respond and we got to keep it up. I was surprised to see Trump tweeting about this morning. Z doesn't have the better of Trump in this, but it shows you this is an important hot war going on the other side.
Well, listen, you hear the story. China targets NVIDIA, Qualcomm, and a crackdown on U.S. chip imports. So he's going to get calls from his guys. They're going to be like, Mr. President, we really want to help out, and we really want to make that investment, but we got to figure something out with China. This is really slowing it down. And It's kind of like what happened with the California farmers. Remember when that happened with the California farmers where they're like, look, these policies, you're getting us to lose some of the workers that we really need. And I think you had to find a way to invest, $17 billion to help some of the farmers out. What do you think about this exchange with U.S. and China, Adam? Where are you at with that?
Well,
This Adam.
My bad.
This Adam.
Good Adam.
Good Adam.
I'm going to call you Sauce. I'm going to call him Adam.
That's
Listen,
fine.
Uber, Adam, and we need to know
Porsche
how much
Adam.
it costs to get to the airport from the studio.
True.
You can weigh it.
$23.
Okay. But is that during peak times?
Is that
I don't
peak
go
hours?
during peak time.
Okay. I want to ask you, Vito.
I got
Okay.
you.
All right. What were we
We
talking
can
about?
Uber Lux.
China and U.S.
Mr.
What do you think is going to happen?
Governor Carolla.
You think who has the leverage? I guess maybe that's the question.
I think what Trump. All these relationships metastasize. We let them go, like the Ferrari in the yard. And I think Trump showed up and he goes, "We got to fix a lot of this stuff." And the problem is to fix a lot of this stuff, to reset them, we need to re-break some bones and reset it. It's painful. It's not easy. You know what I mean? Like someone just goes, it's not going to be that clean. It's not going to be that neat. It might not be that fast, but we need to fix a bunch of stuff. And fixing the bunch of stuff means that there's going to be a rehab, but we still needed the surgery to be done. And we were sort of just walking with a limp kind of going, I can get along. And we're like, nope, we're going down. We're doing surgery. You're going to be down for a while. But then when we come back, you're not going to have a limp. And so we're being unfair to Trump, or not we, but a lot of us go, what? We can't go down for 3 months or whatever. It's like, that's the process that we need to undertake to not walk with the limp. Or we can just get Kamala Harris or Biden in there and we'll just walk for a limp with a limp in perpetuity. So
and
that's
slur.
kind of slur. That's what we're doing right now. So no one wants to hear about it at the beginning, but it needs to be done. And, you know, the relationship with China is lopsided, especially them stealing, you know, our technology, everything, you know, chips, golf clubs, whatever. They've been ripping us off for a long time, but we're dependent on them with all their Amazon junk, which is essentially free and gets shipped the next day. But we're going to have to re-break the bones, and the patient's going to be down for a little bit, and then we'll rehab, and then we won't walk with a limp.
Adam.
Sauce. Yeah, over Adam. Yeah. Well, you asked the question, who has the leverage right now, Trump or China, United States or China? I would say that short term, United States has it, Trump has it, but long term, you know, China's going to play the waiting game. You know, Trump right now is going at a rapid pace. You know, he came up with Operation Warp Speed. He's going at triple warp speed right now. You know, he's exactly 3 years until he's out of office.
He just landed in Egypt right now.
Bingo. He's doing
Yeah.
it. He's doing his thing. So here's a couple of stats I just want to show you. This is why it's sort of like incumbent to understand what's going on. The countries that trust their government the most, if you can show this, Rob, number 1 on the list is Saudi Arabia. Number 2 is China. Because they don't have freedom of press, they don't have freedom of anything, you're going to do what the government says. So China, the people of China, trust what the CCP is doing. Now, if you extrapolate that and go back to that chart, Rob, if you don't mind.
Or they're going to get
the other
killed
one.
if they say anything
Yeah, of
different.
course. You see where the United States is. We're at 40%.
Who took the poll?
This is, Rob, scroll out, buddy. This is Statista. So United States trusts our government 40%, but in this case, Trump really doesn't care because he's not running for re-election. This is something I think you used the word, Adam. Would you use the word that he's
Metastasized?
Was it metastasized? Oh, you said earlier about Trump is not
Fantastic
exactly.
word.
So the point is, the people of China are just like, they're going to go along. Now, if you go to the next thing over there, I think it's from Statista as well. It's how unfree is the press. The least freest country in the world is press is China. So China is going to tell the people of China, this is what's going on. Trust us. This is what we're doing. And they're not going to say anything about it. They're just going to go along with it. So in America, we're going to have people, tariffs, what's going on? You can't do this. All these things are going on. China's going like this. They're just going fast. They're going with speed. But Trump's going to come in and basically, what do you say, pull the brakes on this car right here. But over the next 3 years, I think United States is going to have the leverage, but long term, we're going to have some deal with China and the strength of obviously
Does
their
this
economy.
deal get done before 2026 is here?
Not if China has anything to say with it, because they're willing to go through some pain and put their people through pain.
Well, let me ask you this.
Wait,
Let me
this
ask you
deal, this chip thing, or
Tariffs.
this deal a
I'm
bigger
saying overall tariffs.
I think the 100% tariff will come back and we'll get something done on chips, but China's going to get some concessions for itself, and so they'll be part of a deal.
So, but do you think the tariff deal will be done before the end of the year?
I do not think the tariff deal will be done, but I think the 100 will come off, and they'll
I think the 100
reconcile
will
what
come
they're
off.
doing.
Those
with
are two
the
different
chips.
things, though. The 100, Trump has given so many temporary 25% on Mexico,
Right.
50% on Canada. He does this and then removes it, and he says November 1st, and you got 2 weeks. Like, if you don't by then, he does this all the time.
No, we won't have.
Well,
a
let me
master
ask you,
deal.
Pat, if you're Xi right now, you know that Trump has 3 years left to get stuff done. You see what he's doing all around the world. How do you maneuver if you're someone like Xi?
I tell you, the one thing about the great negotiators like Trump is they find, like they were talking about yesterday. We went to this one park. The kids are playing, and they kept using this phrase. And I don't know what the phrase was. It's a phrase kids, Riz and all this
You're
other
cooked?
stuff.
Is it you're
no,
cooked?
it's a phrase that we're using on how to get under the skin of the lady that was moderating the dodgeball game. There was a word they used. Okay, Rob, is there a phrase for it? Like on how to get
was the
under their
word?
nerves. And
What I heard them say.
what is it? Did they say? What is rage baiting? Is that what they said?
Rage-
That's
Rage
the word.
baiting?
Yeah, rage baiting.
Oh.
It's like, we're just rage baiting her. I'm like, what the hell is rage baiting?
Yeah.
It's like when you try to see if you can get under someone's...
It's like gaslighting almost.
Yeah, if you can get under someone's skin that's older than you. And then Tico's like, well, you do this sometime in school as well. You know, you get in trouble. It's like, I'm just rage baiting, right? I think Trump's the ultimate rage baiter, okay?
Of course.
So I think Trump's got to sit there. Let me tell you, here's my prediction. In the next 4 weeks, you're going to hear Trump send the most ridiculous tweet with a threat of something that's going to do because he knows it's going to annoy and upset Xi. And I don't know what it's going to be, okay? I have no idea what's going to be. I don't know. He's right now sitting there doing opposition research on steroids. He's got his Harvard guys doing opposition research. He's got his guy that went to the biggest university in China doing opposition research. He's got the spies from China that flipped that are supporters of ours to do opposition research to see how they can get under Xi's skin. They're doing that nonstop. And you're going to see a tweet that's going to come out. They're going to be like, wait, what did Trump just say? Like, you know when Musk sent that tweet out saying, wait till the Epstein files really come out. And it was like, Kash Patel's on Rogan. It's like, well, I'm sitting this one out, right?
Yeah.
You're going to see something like that come out. And... It'll be a very,
How ugly
very...
could it be, people?
Wait,
the tweets.
ugly enough.
She's gay.
Listen,
Everybody knows this.
listen,
No, sorry.
If 75 million iPhones were being made in China, a lot of them that are now going to India, it's a lot of business you took away from them. So I think he's going to go and press, put salt on the wound that hurts, and he's just going to go on like this. He's going to grab 2 buckets. Bam! He's going to go like this. I think that's what he's going to do.
But that scares me.
And I don't. It does. I'm
because
just
I don't want COVID-20 to come out of a lab again.
What do you mean lab, bro?
Yeah, a lab that
wet
we own.
market bats.
Guys,
a Chinaman ate a bat, Vinny.
Don't
Everyone
fall
knows
asleep
that.
on them.
All
Don't fall asleep on that
I'm
guy.
saying to you is, you're talking about the great rage baiting, commander in chief is what he is. As the younger generation would say, I think that's what he's going to do. Because he's right now, he did the same thing with Netanyahu. He's up there saying, yeah, we're thinking about building some nice properties here and taking over Gaza under control of U.S. And who knows, maybe we build some hotels. And Bibi goes, what the fuck? We didn't talk about that. I don't know. I think something could happen there because you know when Trump needs this thing to be done? By the end of Q1 of 2026. You know why? Because 4th of July, he has to be on stage, giving that stage speech, 250-year anniversary, with the most ridiculous, the UFC fight at the White House, World Cup here. He needs China's deal. He needs the China deal to be done by the end of Q1.
Going down that list.
Rob, did you see the one fighter I gave you the video of from like 4 weeks ago? Do you have that clip? You know which one I'm talking about?
Labs, perfectly
Do you remember that one or no, Rob?
I don't.
Remember that one fighter I had that I was like a perfect candidate for UFC? I'll try to find it. Listen, there's rumors right now. Have you heard about the rumors they're talking about for fighting?
No.
Have you seen this? That possibly Pereira. What's Pereira's first name? Is that Alex?
Yeah.
Alex Pereira.
Yeah, that he may be fighting John Jones. Maybe fighting John Jones. Dana said that'll never ever happen. Yeah, there you go. I was right. It's a potential John Jones, Alec Pereira super fight.
Oh, man.
John Jones
at light, heavy, or heavy?
Who knows?
Jones
Maybe it's going to be a
dismantle
BMF type of a category because one of them has to step down and the other one has to step up, which is...
Adam, Pereira's in crazy shape.
Stop it. Respect to Pereira. He's great. John Jones is the GOAT.
But he hasn't fought since when?
Doesn't matter. The GOAT's GOAT. That's what they
you can't say it doesn't matter what you have in your body.
Go ahead. When John Jones shows up here, you tell him that.
Let me tell you guys. To me, I think this is great. Dana White's a total bullshit. Dana White, I think in an interview, he said, I'm glad John Jones sent that, but even if they paid $1 billion, I would never do it. I'd like to see this guy get into the fight. Rob, if you have this clip, this is like such an impressive...
Oh, that's my boy. I love this guy.
That guy.
I love this guy.
This guy.
Dude,
please,
go ahead.
He's killing it.
Him against Connor.
Oh.
You know what? Look at this.
That's my boy.
Show it to me. Boom.
Bro.
I see you, Joe.
Bro, none of his kicks go past your knees. They don't go higher than your knees.
4-inch vertical leap.
You know he has 5 cats.
Vinny, it's easy to make fun of him. He's at least in the arena. You are not. Okay? He's in the arena.
Dude,
putting himself on the... Look at this guy.
That's my boy. I love that guy.
a cross tattoo on
The
his
first time I
chest.
ever saw that guy? Oh, he kills it. His videos are amazing.
Yeah. I loved it. That was funny as hell. All right, let's get to...
Is that Katie Porter?
Katie Potato.
Katie Potato.
Katie Porter needs a husband like that. I mean, Katie Porter needs to date somebody like that. Because, by the way, did you know does she have custody of her 3 kids?
I don't
or no?
I don't know.
I saw some weird stories about
There's some odd wording in there that she's the caregiver. So I don't know how family court works, and I don't want to say something that's wrong
let's
here.
Go to a clip here that I think Adam can, Adam Carolla can respond to.
Let's go.
Jimmy Kimmel didn't see a problem, okay, with his lie that Charlie Kirk's killer was part of the MAGA gang. Rob, if you can play this clip here, I'm curious to know what Adam has to say about this. Go ahead, Rob.
I think there was a big problem. I just saw it as distortion on the part of some of the right-wing media networks, and I aimed to correct it. I have problems like all the time, and it's kind of funny because sometimes you think, oh, this is not a problem, and then it turns into a big problem. And then sometimes it goes the other way where you think like, oh, this is going to be a problem, and nobody really notices.
And so at what point did you realize this was a problem?
I think when they pulled the show off the air.
That's his first funny joke in years.
And what were the conversations with Dana and Bob that led to that?
I hate to disappoint you, but they were really good conversations.
Yeah, I'm not asking for you to blame anyone.
I mean, really good conversations. They are. These are people that I've known for a long time, and who I like very much, and who were, who wanted. We all wanted this to work out best. And I will tell you, first of all, I ruined Dana's weekend. It was just nonstop phone calls all weekend, but I don't think the result, which I think turned out to be very positive, would have been as positive if I hadn't talked to Dana as much as I did, because it helped me think everything through, and it helped me just kind of understand where everyone was.
So what do you think about the whole thing? He came back, record-breaking, most viewership ever, 6.3 million. And then some data has shown the fact that the viewership has dropped even lower to previous to getting fired. Some people are speculating. What do you think about what happened with Jimmy here and him getting fired and then coming back?
I talked to him about it, and his explanation was it's interesting places to tread for me, because my fans get mad when I defend him. He's a friend. Obviously, he helped me. He essentially plucked me. I was working as a boxing coach when I met him, and he pulled me out of that and got me into radio and pretty much made my career. And now I've had a career past him as well. His explanation to me about what he meant was plausible. Like, I know it sounds like he was saying these guys are, what he said about Charlie Kirk's killer, but it's a plausible deniability kind of thing. I don't want to get in all the machinations of it, but he's a guy who's got a motor. He's not unlike Trump. He's not unlike you. He's not unlike me. He's got a motor. Now, the motor goes in directions that we disagree with, but he's a guy with a motor, and he'll fight to defend himself.
Would you say he's a good guy?
Yeah, he is a good guy.
He's a good guy?
Yes, so he's very generous.
What are some things that maybe conservatives who don't know him, who, will easily go after him, what are some things you would say about him that, for conservatives to hear? Good things about Jimmy.
He's incredibly thoughtful, which I'm not. He's super... your kid's birthday, it's always something, it's always a present showing up for your kids. Very generous, very thoughtful, provides basically work, employs half his family. My daughter worked for his production, worked for Jimmy Kimmel Live for her summer job. Very generous, thoughtful, and a good citizen. Regardless... I sort of explained this at the time on my show, which is it's easy to disagree with people. It's easy to say they're dangerous. I don't like they're dopes or whatever. But he is a genuinely good, thoughtful, and generous person who you disagree with on many subjects.
Have you ever asked him? Like, one of the things I tweeted at him one time, and I tagged him and Bob Iger, Rob. I don't know if you remember that or not. And I said, after he got fired, why don't you? Because the ratios of the people that he had, it's pretty much all on the left. He doesn't invite people on the right. I think the last one he's invited that was from the right, which actually ended up being a very good interview, was with the Pillow. What is it called?
Mike Lindell
Pillow guy.
from
Mike
My
Lindell.
Pillow.
Yeah.
Mike Lindell.
And I said, Rob, I just sent it to you, Rob, if you want to pull it up. I said, hey, Jimmy, I watched your show late night last night and appreciate you addressing the audience. Here's my challenge to you and Bob Iger. Why not invite Erica Kirk on the show? Why not invite conservatives on the show? Why not invite some people on the right? Why does he not at least invite some people from the opposing side and giving them a chance on what they have to say? Have you ever brought that up to him?
No, I don't talk politics with him. No, because it's like you want to ruin the Thanksgiving by getting into it with your, daughter's friend or something at Thanksgiving. It's like it was never part of our relationship, politics. It was comedy and it was friendship. And that's what it is now. And it wasn't something that we stopped talking about because we never started talking about it. And, I think things change in his job and my job, and there is more political talk. But I think we're making a mistake when we're going to sit down and have dinner and we have to talk about this stuff that's going to ruin the dinner, essentially.
You think that's a mistake?
I think it's a mistake. I don't think this is a mistake. I don't think what he's doing is a mistake. I'm saying when this is done and the cameras shut down and the lights get turned off and now we're going out for a beer, I don't see why you have to keep getting into this stuff.
Do you talk to him as a comedian? Because hear me out. I actually have massive respect for you because you guys have gone completely opposite ways, ideologically, politically, yet you're still respectful and you're still his friend. And I have a lot of friends that are super liberal, even super conservative, and those are my friends, and I'm a pretty loyal dude, and I'm sticking with them. But as a comedian, forget about politics. Can't you say, listen, bro, you're just not funny anymore. The misdirection, everyone knows where the joke is going. Look, he just came back on air, Rob, if you pull this up. He just posted his first monthly ratings win in the entire series history. Meaning he hasn't been funny or first place ever.
But it dropped right
But now, because Charlie Kirk, and he came back on the air, now he's trending upward. So at any point, do you say, listen, bro, as a comedian, maybe you kind of bring it back towards the middle? You do anything? Did you talk to him about Charlie Kirk at all? Anything?
No. The thing about comedians is they have what they want to say. Some you agree with, some you think's funny, some you don't think it's funny. I don't get into the game where if I disagree with someone, I go, they're not funny. There's such a thing as agreeing, like, Bill Maher's a skilled guy, and he is funny. And I do disagree with a lot of the stuff he says, but I don't go, he's not funny. It's the same thing I don't like when people go, that guy's dumb, man. That guy's such an idiot. It's like, he's a lawyer and he's a physician, and you disagree with the guy, but he's not
But isn't it a challenge to live in an echo chamber? Like, Vinny and I might disagree. But how much time do we consult with? Hey, Vinny, what do you think about this? What do you think? We don't agree on everything, but we constructively consult with each other to bring the best out of us. Couldn't that work with you guys?
I understand. I actually don't want to push on this topic anymore because I think he gave his position, and I get it. Yeah. To me, the honor goes to Adam here, Carolla, because he's saying he brought me out. I used to be a boxing coach, and he brought me out, and then I got my fame there, and then later on I took it and did it myself. I don't know. Whether you like him or I don't even know what the comment section is saying. You have to freaking like the guy that's giving credit to the person that kickstarted him at a point that maybe things weren't going the way he was going, and then now he's a household name. I remember the first time I was on your show, I don't know how many years ago that was, but I was on your show and we talked about what kind of money you started making. I think you said in your third or fourth, I don't know what it was, when you said I really started making money. We were in your studio and we were talking about that. And, respect to you for doing that. I actually appreciate what you're saying, and you give him credit.
Yeah,
and
I 100% Adam. I'd be in the same position as was Cool Adam? Was it Cool Adam?
Good Adam.
Cool Adam.
I got you. Good Adam.
Rich Adam, Cool Adam, great looking Adam.
And Adam, you made a point where the numbers went up for that one episode, but then it dropped completely.
For the month, yeah.
So, but just in general, it's just I'm always curious, and this isn't even a question. I'm just curious, like, do you really have these point of views, or is it because the network's having you do it? Because just recently, Rob, can you just do this? Like, you would think after the Charlie Kirk thing, and by the way, he said, and I quote, we hit some new lows over the weekend. This is when Charlie was killed, with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize the kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, which you cannot, like, that is basically trying to say, without knowing any facts, that somebody on the MAGA side murdered Charlie, which is wrong. And then, by the way, saying that free speech, nobody said free speech. It's about your numbers. The numbers prove of what's happening with the actual program. But then you would think that he would change tunes. This is him saying basically Antifa doesn't exist. And then I'll show a clip of how all the networks are saying it. Go ahead, Rob, play this.
Understand. There's no Antifa. This is an entirely imaginary organization. There is not an Antifa.
Yes, there
This
is.
is no different than if they announced they rounded up a dozen Decepticons. We've captured the Chupacabra, everyone. And then it was Trump's turn to ratchet up the rhetoric with fiery images conjured from no one has any idea where.
So number one, Antifa exists. If you even went on ABC's search engine on their website, put Antifa. There's so many articles saying Antifa. There's a freaking handbook, the Antifa handbook for fascists. So I'm just boggled. My mind goes crazy because I'm like, you just learned a lesson. You'd think that you learned a lesson, but no, you doubled down. And then, Rob, can you just show the talking point? Because the email went out for everybody. This is, mind you, now they haven't burned down the city during BLM and all that stuff. They weren't punching people in the face, burning down cities. You know the email went out because this is every network parroting exactly what he said.
There's no Antifa. This is an entirely imaginary organization. There is not an Antifa.
Like, I don't even know what Antifa is. There is no group.
It's not even like far-right groups like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. Compared to right-wing extremists, Antifa-linked violence is rare and limited.
It isn't an organization. It is a in many ways mythology.
It's not like the Proud Boys or the Oath Keepers, sort of defined terrorist organizations with leadership that leads violence.
It's not a highly organized movement. It's a moniker. It's not a unified group like the Proud Boys are. Things like Antifa are things that are thought up.
It's all in this guise of going after Antifa, which is nothing. There's no organization called Antifa.
Nobody's a member of Antifa.
You can stop it. So that's my point. Is like, what you're gonna go up there and say something that you know is false. You know the Charlie Kirk thing was a lie. You know the Antifa thing is a lie. Like, Antifa's, they're 100% out there. So I just don't understand why take that position and why go there. That's one of the reasons I'm just so confused. But then you go back to the numbers, and Tom, what does that say? Words talk, numbers scream, and the numbers are screaming louder and louder every day as the numbers drop.
Yeah. Well, can we just say one thing more than anything? I think tomorrow is Charlie Kirk's birthday. I think he would have been 32. Is that right? So at the very least, he allowed us to have open debate and conversation. And I think tomorrow is going to be a very, very big day in his honor.
I don't, as far as like Antifa and talking points and what they believe and what they don't believe, you can see the same people 5 years ago going, this thing was not a lab leak. It came from a wet market. Okay, what do you know? What do you know? Do you know this? Because I don't think you know it or you don't know it. It's not, I mean, this is noble, but what I'm saying is they'll get on to something and then they just parrot it and then they just echo it and that's what it is.
Do you
it's
think
like
they
the lab
believe
leak.
that? Or is that just something that...
I don't know. I have no idea. It's a weird thing where you kind of go, do they believe? Yeah. I believe Jimmy believes whatever Jimmy says. He and this thing of like, well, say this or don't say that. I think there's a lot. People have said to me in the other direction. They've said to me, does Tucker Carlson or does Dennis Prager or does anybody who ain't Ben Shapiro, they don't really believe. I go, they absolutely believe it. Yes, they believe it. Now, you can disagree with them or you can believe it too or you can know something else, but they believe it. I don't question everyone's sincerity that much. I think they do.
Did you ever watch The Daily Show?
Yes, I have.
Jon Stewart? You ever done anything with Jon Stewart?
I've done The Daily Show, times. John is reclusive, kind of. He's a nice guy. He and I get along, personally pretty well. It's interesting because I think when you disagree with someone as much as you might disagree with Jon Stewart or Jimmy Kimmel, it's an easy trap to just go bad guy because that makes you then de facto a good guy for believing what you believe. I think what we need to get in our head is people can have thoughts that you vehemently disagree with, and they can still be good people.
Yep.
And I wish the other side would do that.
That's the problem,
because then you wouldn't be Hitler.
They villainize the other side. Well, I think John is an incredible voice. I think he's super necessary. I think you might be wrong on some issues, but super talented. The reason I bring that up is he has a roster on his show, a handful of people. One guy is a young, talented black guy, super funny, super hilarious guy, but he did a whole episode on how Antifa just doesn't exist. They don't even have a website. Antifa doesn't even have a website. And he just went down this whole list and then basically tried to like pull the rug out of Trump doing this deal. And the reason I bring that up is forget about what they're saying. The entire audience is just buying everything they're selling. And that's the problem. You talked about whether the Hillary Clinton's lying, whoever it is, but then you have the 19-year-old vaping in the basement that believes everything they say. These people have a responsibility to tell the truth a lot of times on the left and the right, and they're just spewing nonsense a lot of time. I think that's my problem.
Jerry Nadler started the whole Antifa as just an idea thing. Wasn't that Nadler?
I think that was the Penguin.
Do you remember that?
How long ago was that?
Nadler got stopped walking
5 years ago.
5 years ago, and someone went like, "Hey, what about Antifa?" And
Show
he's like,
Jerry Nadler, if you don't mind.
Antifa's a myth.
Hunk of a man.
Yeah, it's a myth.
He said this. Yeah, he said this 5 years ago. He said, I don't know if you guys remember that.
Well, that was during the election when there was George Floyd on one side and those protests, and Antifa.
I found the clip, Rob. I just sent it to you. If you want to play
He got stopped walking in front of the Capitol or whatever, and he gave
you have it right there. You have it right
there.
there.
He gave the super dismissive.
His outfit is the
Penguin. The whole country. Do you disavow the violence from Antifa? That's happening in Portland right now. There's riots.
That's a myth that's being spread only in Washington, D.C.
About Antifa in Portland?
Yes.
Sir, there's videos everywhere online. There's fires and riots. They're throwing fireworks at federal officers. DHS is there. Look online. Bro. It gets crazy, Mr. Nadler.
Yeah, so
out of touch.
He said 5 years ago it was a myth.
That is the definition
of rage baiting. Let me ask you a question. What's your outcome of saying Antifa doesn't exist? Who are you trying to take credibility away from? Like what are you trying to do?
I think it's because Trump has designated them a terror organization. If you say they don't exist, then you could still, whoever's funding them, keep paying for it. Like whoever these NGOs, and I don't want to say any names, the higher ups said, that means, no, they don't even exist. They're not a terror organization. You keep funding them because that's the opposition. That's what the left does when they can't argue. Yeah. They send out the freaking text and the email. They say, hey, put your stupid mask on and get your ass out there, Todd.
Right-wing conspiracy.
Find the clip. You can find the clip of Gavin Newsom up on stage going, border. I don't want to hear anything about a border. That's just, we don't have any border problem. Like, why did the border problem not exist?
Yeah, because they said there was nothing wrong with it. Was this it?
Well, there's I think there's a clip of him sort of saying that it's I
found it, Rob. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, it's a red herring or something like.
So he said there's no border crisis.
There is not. Yeah, there's no border crisis.
Yeah.
But they bring it up in a way like you're the crazy one for thinking something that exists.
Yeah, I mean, look, the question is, does that work? Because go ahead and play this clip and then we'll get into it.
Prepared to call this what this is, which is a theater of the absurd. California is prepared to continue to remind the American people this is a manufactured crisis. Border crossings up to 2017 were at the lowest level since 1971. The reality is at ports of entry, most of these drugs are seized, and California is prepared to work with the administration.
This isn't the one I was looking for, but it doesn't matter. They just denied the border. They can deny anything that's happening.
What does he say in 24, though, Rob? I'm curious. Does he change his position?
I want to hear this.
Go ahead.
We're back down here at the border, Tijuana, right behind me, San Diego sector. This is the San Ysidro port of entry. We're just down here with the National Guard, meeting with customs agents as well as Border Patrol, talking about our partnerships. 390 National Guards men and women that have been working, particularly as it relates to fentanyl here in the state of California. Look at the bottom line. At the end of the day, they need more resources. Everybody needs more resources.
Now they need resources.
The Republican Party has been consistently standing in the way of providing the resources, the support for the men and women working hard.
All right,
so he sent you resources, and then he's authoritarian for doing it.
But where I was going with this is when you see these types of things, there's a reason why it's lowest number of people trusting the mainstream media. Vinny talked about this last week. Is it a surprise? They're gonna trust you less and less and less and less. It's not gonna get any worse than what it is right now. No matter how much more they push these things, it makes their argument weaker. By the way, here's the thing. So everybody's talking about midterms is when? When does midterms
2026.
happen?
It's in 1 year.
November, right? So it's exactly 13 months away from midterms.
Right.
Last time midterms came, Republicans said it's going to be a red wave. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see if any of this stuff's going to translate. Let's see if any of this stuff is going to be, converting and helping the left or the right. But there's a lot going to be done between now and then. You have the annual, 250. You have the World Cup. You have the Trump's birthday. You have all these tariff deals. You're going to have, by next midterms, rates are going to be lowered 5 more times, okay, give or take, according to what Goldman and some of these other guys are saying. Rates are going to be lowered 5 times between now and then. Maybe the public offering opens up, maybe more IPOs, maybe the market's going to be a little bit more excited, maybe something's open up. Then what happens with the red wave? And then what happens with the red wave? And then for me, truthfully, like you think about it, who the hell is president in 28? Like, seriously, who is going to be in president 2028?
J.D. Vance.
You think it's going to be J.D. Vance?
Well, here's what I think. If Trump keeps racking up victories, I mean, this only been 9-10 months, but if he keeps stopping wars or conflicts and returning hostages, if he keeps racking up victories, and that's the direction we seem to be going, a lot of winning, then the next guy just has to be an extension of Trump. And someone's going to go, I want to keep this trajectory and this motion going this direction. But you got to have victories, and you got to have momentum,
Governor
and you got to have
Carolla,
positivity.
I'm going to push back on you because I think, unfortunately, you might be factually incorrect because there's only one Trump. And if you look at the polling right now, actually pulled it up to the Rob, right now, quote unquote, J.D. Vance is the favorite in the Republican Party, and your dear friend, Gavin Newsom is the most likely candidate on the left. But if you scroll down a little bit, you could show that it's a dead even race looking forward to 2028. I don't like to speculate. I don't like to look that far ahead. But for any Republican who just thinks that J.D. Vance is just walking into the White House, you got some explaining to do. Because in my opinion, your governor, your wonderful, amazing psychopath, I believe you called him a governor, sociopath, is the most likely president in 2028. And he will reverse everything Trump's done.
Oh, he will.
To me, that is the scariest thing out there right now.
If you stop the war in Ukraine and beef prices come down and gas, right? If there's a lot, I'm saying with the caveat of lots of victories versus you want to go back to California governance.
I just think that
I think he will.
Well, because what's
think
the
Gavin
selling
Newsom, if you just look at it at a candidate, if you're the average American will look at a good-looking Gavin Newsom and standing up to Trump, and a younger, sort of unknown commodity as J.D. Vance, I think the average American who does not know about politics will break towards Newsom. That's how dumb Americans are.
I think Adam makes a good point. It's like
good Adam, you mean?
Good Adam, yeah. But it's like all the wins that are happening. It's like what I'm just curious. And don't get me wrong, I completely believe that Democrats are just like, we want the guy with the good hair.
Yep.
Trump is kicking butt so much. Like what is the other person going to run on? Because Gavin so far is just going, Trump is bad, Trump is Hitler, Trump is bad.
They'll come up with some, like, it was all Trump, J.D. Vance didn't do anything.
You know what they'll actually say?
Yeah.
Let me tell you what I would actually say. You ready?
Go ahead.
I would actually, if I was advising the Democrats, when it is the last 6 months, I'm not talking about primary, I'm talking general election.
Yeah.
During the general election, you're going to hear Democrats talk about that J.D. Vance isn't Trump.
Oh, good point.
They're going to build up Trump.
Yeah.
You're going to see in the weirdest way, they're going to campaign towards how amazing Trump is, and that doesn't mean JD is Trump.
Great point.
It's not.
Yes. Great
That's
point.
what they're going to do. But you're not going to
Yeah.
see it till about July of 2028. You won't see it till
praising him and saying
praising him.
he'll never amount to that.
He actually was a deal maker. He was a businessman. He was a commodity. Who's this
And those
guy?
people in the basement vaping are going to go, you're right.
I'm telling you,
Yeah,
it's a dead even heat right now, 2028.
No, that's it.
Democrats have the lowest approval rating they've ever had, yet they're still exactly
Tom, any
even for
thoughts?
2028.
Yeah, words talking, numbers scream. And right now, the polling numbers are very neutral on both sides. When you look at like long term, we're at a point of neutrality. There's not. You have to look at the following. And this is what we looked at when we did our polling episodes that we would do coming up to the election. The intensity of what an Arizona voter felt about immigration was like 8.9. The intensity of what a Missouri voter felt about immigration was like a 4. So you have to look at the intensity. In other words, both Democrats and Republicans in Arizona, where people were actually coming across the border and sleeping in the alleyway behind your house and causing actual physical problems with just humanity and waste and everything that was going with it. That's the intensity. Right now, the intensity for the election on these pollings is like a 5. When you drop down into it, it's a 5. So people are being polled, but they're not at the point of, oh, crap, this matters. But we're going to get there. We're going to get there. And I agree with you on the strategy side. We're going to get there. But right now, this stuff is going to be back and forth like a gentle pendulum. And I think that J.D. Vance, they're sending him out to drive energy. Everywhere you see J.D. Vance, he's driving energy in every encounter. And I think it's very intentional, but it's going to be gentle until we get to next year.
J.D. is going to have the backing of a handful of very powerful people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, one, Musk, I think will get behind J.D.
Yep.
Peter Thiel will get behind J.D. And, Ellison, those guys are going to get behind J.D.
I agree.
I think those guys are very, very important. The left has to sit there figuring out how the hell do you get Zuck back? How the hell do you get those guys back? And they're not done. They never underestimate the power of what the enemy is going to do. They're not sitting around just sitting there. So maybe we go to 2032. Nope. I
Not
think
them.
this year. And you know what else is exciting for TV for 2028? You know what else is exciting about 2028 for TV? You know how much I love Katie Porter. She's great for TV,
Beautiful.
right? If she was willing, I'd sign her for her take. She's my kind of a person.
100%.
Her take. You got a job. If you don't make it, come on down.
She could stay with me.
But let me tell you what I'm most excited about 2028. There's going to be so many, draft picks of people running for president 2028 that are going to come out of nowhere. You're going to be like, what? Like, man, John McAfee, I'm running for president. You're like, wait, antivirus John McAfee running for president. You're going to have the weirdest people announced because it's officially you're not getting in Trump's way.
Yep, of course.
He's done his 2 terms.
Go for it.
The floodgates are going to open up, and it's going to be awesome for TV. I hope some crazy personalities get in that I hope it's not going to be like, well, according to the Constitution, it's just like I'm bored out of my mind. It's like I'm watching freaking,
Mike Huckabee,
championship game with nobody. Like, imagine if the World Series is Mariners against pick one of the teams, Cubs.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
I don't
Milwaukee
know.
Brewers.
Milwaukee Brewers.
Whatever.
Give me a flip and break. You know who I want to see? I want to see Dodgers, Yankees.
You and me both.
I want to see Dodgers, Yankees, right? Who wants to see these? But listen, I'm sure if I go to Chicago, they're going to slash my tires, or they're going to slash Uber drivers' tires, or what do you call them, Milwaukee or some of these other places. We were Milwaukee last year, by the way. We love Milwaukee. It's a great place. Go Robin Yount. He was awesome.
Yeah.
Paul
Big
Molitor.
fan, 3,000 hits.
Gorman Thomas.
You're phenomenal, right? Anyways, Adam.
Do you think that J.D. Vance has that it factor? Because here's my opinion. Remember the debate between DeSantis and Gavin Newsom? DeSantis whooped him up, yet everyone thought that Gavin won. I'm actually a big advocate of J.D. Vance. I don't think he's got the it factor that Newsom has. And I'm not a fan of Newsom. Do you think he has the it factor?
Here's how I would answer that, and I'm going to wrap up. So here's how I would answer that. You know, the way I would answer is, you know how in the 80s, everything was about having a big center in the NBA. Yeah. So everybody wanted a center. The league was the center league, right?
Yeah, David Robinson.
Tom, I know you got to use the restroom. So it was like all about centers,
Tom,
right?
Get out of here.
Yeah, it was all about centers. Rob already went. But it was all about centers. And then a guy named Michael Jordan shows up. It's like, oh, shit, we got to beat this guy up. So Pistons beat him without a center. Lambier's not a center. His vertical leap was 6 inches. He wasn't necessarily a center, but it was tough and rugged. Mm-hmm. And then 90s, it changed, right? And then 2000, it changed. The first, Celtics. You got Paul
it turned into like a big three type of thing.
I think 2028 strategy is going to be very different because possibly the greatest character ever to enter politics is gone. And there's going to be such a vacuum. I don't even think people are ready for it. I'm telling you.
What is the new center, so to speak?
It's not about the center. It's about you have to sit there and be like, dude, we will never have a guy like that again.
Never.
You're going to have to settle for somebody. There is no up. I don't know how to describe it.
We're gonna go down.
No, you have to settle.
Yeah.
You have to settle. Like, maybe you have.
I know we got to wrap up. But
Adam, who's gonna
I know we got to wrap up,
Trump?
guys.
Who's gonna?
I know we got to wrap up, guys, but
Adam, there's
he
nobody.
was wrapping up, and then you interrupted again.
Wait, I actually want to hear
There's
this.
nobody that's ever gonna get to.
You got 10 seconds.
Okay.
Who above
we're
Trump?
still living in social media. We're still living in the attention economy. The days of policy wonk, they're done. It's all about personality. It's all about attention.
So who above Trump?
JD doesn't have it, is my point. The only person on the right that I think has it, if we can get this guy going again, it's one name. Vivek.
No way.
That guy's a gangster.
No way. No.
I'm telling you right now.
Nope.
Vivek could do it.
With all due
Vivek
respect,
has learned his lesson.
Absolutely not.
Vivek has learned his lesson. He's going to come up firing. Who on
I
the
like
right?
Vivek. Dana White.
Oh,
Dana White.
Look at you. See, you got
But by the way, he is going in the right direction. I agree with him. To me, that's who is a guy that, the market's going to be like, what the Dana? Like, I think a guy like that. You need somebody that's been inside the flip. We're at the Vol Conference. Everybody, you remember what happened during the Vol Conference?
Of course, with
audio,
Charlie?
everything.
Yeah,
Charlie and Charlie. Oh my God, how did you guys hold it together? This is the day-to-day stuff. The next level, Dana's been inside the storm for his entire life. You're gonna get some weird people getting into it. Some very
that
weird
would put
people
Trump
getting
in a
into
very
it.
hard predicament, choosing between his VP and his UFC friend Dana White.
I think they would talk about it way before. Adam, guys, if you're watching this, Adam Carolla has if you don't mind sharing your podcast. Yeah, we're going to put the link below. Is this the podcast here? What do you have? Where can people find a podcast?
You can go to adamcarolla.com. I got live shows, podcasts, whatever you need.
And by the way, the Paul Newman Porsche is for sale for $42 million.
$42 million.
If we have a buyer,
The offer.
$42 million. I don't think he would accept the offer. But if you have that kind of money, you want to make the offer. I just made that up. I don't know if he's even selling a car. No, I'm just trying to sell it. I want a 10% commission is what I want. Yeah. Okay. Anyways,
Adam
guys.
Carolla for governor 2026.
Hey, I cannot tell you how many shoes have been ordered.
That's what I'm talking about.
But if you're a size 10, 10.5, or 11, you may want to place your order. That's the only thing I will tell you. Go to vtmerch.com, place your order for Future Looks Bright. Adam Carolla, great to see you again. Great to have you on. Anytime you're in South Florida, let us know. We'd love to have you on.
It's coming soon.
God bless everybody. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.